Chapter 563. Yang Ming wasn't in a hurry but Xia Shui was. It didn't take long for the phone to call again. Yang Ming glanced at the caller ID and picked up the phone helplessly. Is there anything else? Yang Ming, where are you? Why haven't you arrived yet? Xia Shui seemed to have forgotten what she had just said. She asked where Yang Ming was. Yang Ming was speechless for a while. Isn't this too powerful? So he laughed. Didn't you not let me go? Who said that? Don't be shameless. If you're a man, you should abide by the agreement and come quickly. Xia Shui's words raised the matter to the level of whether he was a man or not. Will you wait for me? Yang Ming thought, if I don't go, I'm not a man. Can I still not go if you say so? Besides, I did promise Xia Shui that I wouldn't refuse when I treat her. Yang Ming hid the voodoo book. It was better not to let his parents see this kind of thing, lest his father said that he didn't do his job properly. His father's generation was the kind of atheist who didn't believe in this kind of thing. They might say that he was superstitious. After informing his family, Yang Ming rushed to the Blue Fish Bar near Xia Shui's home. The owner of the Blue Fish Bar knew Yang Ming. He was the young man who carried Xia Shui away last time. He smiled ambiguously at Yang Ming. Are you looking for Xia Shui? She's in the innermost booth, the usual position. Yang Ming nodded and walked over. Xia Shui had already started drinking. When she saw Yang Ming, she pointed to the seat opposite. Sit down. What's wrong? Yang Ming looked at the row of beer bottles in front of Xia Shui and knew that something must have happened to Xia Shui. Drink with me. Boss, give me 10 more bottles of beer. I want Songjiang beer. Xia Shui waved her hand and said to the boss. Drinking a large bottle of Songjiang beer in such a stylish bar, only Xia Shui could do this. However, the boss was obviously very familiar with Xia Shui. He didn't care at all. When he heard Xia Shui's call, he asked the waiter to bring a box of beer over. However, there was still a difference between the beer in the bar and the ones sold at the food stalls outside. The packaging was more high-end. The price was also a level higher. Why do you suddenly want to drink in broad daylight? Yang Ming shook his head, picked up a bottle of beer and clinked it with Xia Shui. I was suspended by Captain Chen. Xia Shui suddenly sighed and said, Is it funny? What's so funny? Yang Ming frowned. If I wanted to laugh at you, I wouldn't have come. Tell me what happened. There are confidentiality rules. I can't tell you. He didn't expect Xia Shui to be so sober after drinking. She didn't say anything that shouldn't be said. I think it's most likely that you're too eager for quick success and quick benefits. In the end, you overreached yourself, right? Yang Ming's mouth twitched. Needless to say, Xia Shui was probably suspended because of this. But how do you know? Xia Shui was stunned. Did Captain Chen tell you? Yang Ming was a little amused. Do I need to tell you? Do you think I don't know what kind of person you are? However, seeing that Xia Shui's mood was low, this couldn't be said. He could only persuade her. No, but in TV dramas, isn't it usually like this when a person is suspended? Xia Shui didn't know what to say. She didn't know what to say. It's true. Why am I so stupid? I wanted to solve a big case, but the result was that I ruined it and ruined everyone's plan. Xia Shui said with some sadness. Everyone makes mistakes, right? Yang Ming persuaded. How long were you suspended? A month. It was said to be 1 month. I don't know how long it is. Xia Shui sighed. Last time I was transferred to the traffic police team to reflect. It was said to be 1 week, but I was there for 2 months. Isn't it half a year this time? Let's do it this way. After a month, if you haven't been reinstated, I will go to Uncle Chen to plead for you. Yang Ming comforted. I think I should still have some face. Really? Xia Shui's eyes lit up. Thank you, Yang Ming. You're a good person. What? Yang Ming was a little overwhelmed after listening to Xia Shui's words. I'm a good person? I don't know who always suspected that I was a bad person and even arrested me several times. No discord, no concord. Xia Shui said with some embarrassment. Who asked you to always do those hooligan things in the past? Sweat, when did I become a hooligan? Didn't I explain it to you clearly? Can you blame me for some things? Yang Ming said innocently. Well, let's not talk about the past. Cheers. Xia Shui raised the bottle. Cheers. Yang Ming drank with Xia Shui. Is it because of the smuggling case? Yang Ming remembered that Qin Fei told him that day that he sent Xia Shui to the customs to understand the situation. She must be because of this case. Xia Shui suddenly widened her eyes and stared at Yang Ming. She suddenly said, How did you know? Tell me. Are you in cahoots with them? Fainting Wang Jitao caused me to be like this. What kind of brain do you have? You actually thought that I couldn't be in cahoots with him. Yang Ming said, no wonder you were suspended. The suspect has a problem. This is true. Xia Shui smiled embarrassedly and then said seriously, do you also think that this smuggling case is related to the Wang family? Yang Ming was shocked. Yes, now the Wang family's involvement in the smuggling was just a guess. My words just now were equivalent to determining their nature. So he shook his head and said, I just suspected so, then it can't be wrong. I also think so. It must be that Wang Shifan is the behind-the-scenes instigator. If you ask me, just catch him and interrogate him properly. You probably have everything. Xia Shui said excitedly. Do you think Uncle Chen will agree? Yang Ming rolled his eyes at her. Although Yang Ming didn't understand the process of their case, it was impossible to arrest someone with Wang Shifan's status. If there was no evidence, the resistance to arresting Wang Shifan wasn't ordinary. Yeah. Captain Chen won't agree. Xia Shui nodded with some frustration. But I have decided. I will take advantage of the suspension period to investigate openly and secretly. I don't believe that I can't find the tail of this old fox, Wang Shifan. It doesn't seem right for you to do this, right? Yang Ming felt that Xia Shui was suspended. If she still handled the case privately, it seemed to be against the rules. What's wrong with it? Xia Shui said, I said that I will investigate openly and secretly. Hee, don't tell Captain Chen. Forget it. I won't say it. Yang Ming couldn't bear to discourage her. Anyway, Xia Shui was willing to do it. Now it seemed that Xia Shui must have alerted the enemy. If she were to deter Wang Shifan, he might reveal himself faster. Anyway, he didn't expect Xia Shui to be able to solve the case. Thank you, Yang Ming. Xia Shui said with some excitement, If I solve the case this time, then I will treat you to a drink. Well, then I will wait for your drink. Yang Ming smiled and nodded. But he didn't have any hope in his heart. Xia Shui was very depressed when she drank the wine before, but she was very carefree later on. But in the end she drank too much. It was still Yang Ming who carried her back. After throwing her on the bed in the apartment, Yang Ming left. The next day, Xia Shui began her private investigation. She first came to the headquarters of Wang Shifan's Wang's Century Xiongfeng Group. I am looking for President Wang Shifan for something. Please help me inform him. Xia Shui directly found the receptionist at the front desk. Sorry, madam. Do you have an appointment? Asked the receptionist. No, I have something to ask President Wang. Please help me inform him. Xia Shui frowned. He thought this Wang Shifan is quite arrogant. Do I need an appointment to see him? Sorry, madam. If you don't have an appointment, I can't inform you. President Wang is very busy. If you have something, please make an appointment in advance. The receptionist politely refused. I'm a police officer. Xia Shui took out the police officer's ID and showed it in front of the receptionist. I am looking for Wang Shifan to assist in the investigation. Oh, okay, I will call you right away. Please wait. The receptionist was shocked. She didn't dare to neglect and quickly picked up the phone. Secretary Huang. I am Shaoli at the front desk downstairs. This is the case. Police Officer Xia is looking for President Wang to assist in the investigation. Yes, that's good. I will wait for your call. After that, the receptionist hung up the phone and said to Xia Shui, please wait a moment. I will inform Secretary Huang to look for President Wang. Xia Shui nodded. She stood in the hall and looked at the interior decoration of the Wang's group. It was luxurious. It seems that Wang Shifan is really rich. Chapter 564. President Wang, it's not good. That woman Xia Shui actually came to our door. Huang Yukai hung up the phone and quickly wheeled himself into Wang Shifan's room. What? Damn it. Wang Shifan slammed the table and said angrily, is she done yet? Our relationship in the customs was discovered by her. She still came to our door? Could it be that the kid spit out something inside? Huang Yukai frowned. But logically it shouldn't be. It was Su Daji who contacted him. The person who contacted me before has been transferred. This relationship is newly established. It shouldn't involve us. Unless what? Wang Shifan asked quickly. Su Daji spilled the beans and exposed our relationship. Huang Yukai analyzed. Damn this Sudaji, his death is not unjust. Wang Shifan finished and wanted to slam the table again. But he looked at his hand wrapped in gauze and put it down helplessly. What do we do now, President Wang? Should we meet this Xiaoshui? Asked Huang Yukai. What do you think? Asked Wang Shifan. I think we should meet her and see what she wants to do. Huang Yukai said, if we don't meet her, isn't it more obvious that we have a problem? That's right. She doesn't necessarily have any evidence. If that's the case, she will come up directly to arrest us. Wang Shifan nodded. Then let's meet her. Call downstairs and ask her to come up. 5 minutes later, they met Xia Shui in the reception room outside Wang Shifan's office. Hello, Officer Xia. Wang Shifan warmly shook hands with Xia Shui and said, please sit down. I will ask my secretary to make tea. Don't bother. I just came to understand some things from you. Xia Shui waved her hand and said, well, I don't know why Officer Xia is looking for me. Wang Shifan nodded and sat opposite Xia Shui. President Wang, what is the relationship between you and Sudaji? Asked Xia Shui suddenly. What? Sudaji? Wang Shifan's heart thumped. Could it be that Sudaji's body was found? However, there was no unnatural expression on Wang Shifan's face. You're talking about him? He's my brother-in-law. What's wrong? Sudaji is missing. Xia Shui said faintly, we suspect that he is related to a smuggling case. What? Missing? Smuggling? Wang Shifan pretended to be surprised. Is there a mistake? My brother-in-law is a very honest person. How could he be involved in smuggling? Oh right, now that you mention it, it seems that I haven't seen him for a long time. You don't know anything about his behavior? Xia Shui looked at Wang Shifan and asked, I heard that he used to be an employee of your group. Don't you find it strange that he is missing? He was indeed my employee a while ago. At that time, my secretary Huang Yukai was hospitalized because of a car accident. I let my brother-in-law, Sudaji, replace him for a while, but he really wasn't the material. After Secretary Huang was discharged from the hospital, I dismissed him. Wang Shifan said. Fired just like that? You haven't seen him since? Xia Shui asked. After that he did come to me once. Wang Shifan hesitated and said. What did he come to you for? Asked Xia Shui. He came to me to borrow money. Wang Shifan sighed. I didn't want to say this, but since police officer Xia asked, I can't hide it. What do you mean? Xia Shui wondered. Why can't you say that you want to borrow money? He gambled outside and owed a loan shark. He asked me to lend him money to pay off the debt. Wang Shifan sighed and said, originally I didn't want to lend it, but he said that if I didn't help him, others would kill him. After all, he is my brother-in-law. I can't just leave him alone. Although the number is relatively large, I still lent him the money. Although it is a loan, in fact, it is almost the same as giving. I also know that this money is almost impossible to get back. How much? Xia Shui's heart moved and asked. 5 million. Wang Shifan shook his head and said, although I have money, giving him 5 million at once is quite distressing. But there is no other way. Who asked me to have such a relative? Are you sure that he took the money to pay off the gambling debt? Xia Shui asked, not to engage in smuggling. How would I know? I have so many things to do in the company every day. I can't follow him to pay off the debt, right? Wang Shifan spread his hands and said, as for what he did with the money, how can I manage it? Who can prove that Sudaji borrowed money from you? Asked Xia Shui. Do you still need to prove this kind of thing? Wang Shifan shook his head. I don't need to prove anything. Whether I gave him money or not, that is our family's private matter. It doesn't seem to be within your jurisdiction, right? President Wang, I am asking you to assist in the investigation. I also hope that you can answer truthfully because what you say is very important to us, said Xia Shui. Well, Secretary Huang was present at the time. The money was taken from my little vault. It didn't go to the company's account. Wang Shifan said, this kind of thing isn't a glorious thing. I can't wash my dirty linen in public. I don't want other people to know. Well, President Wang, can I know the total assets of your company? Xia Shui nodded and changed the topic. Our company's total assets are more than 160 million, said Wang Shifan. How much are your personal assets? Xia Shui continued to ask. I'm sorry. I can't comment. These things are personal privacy. I don't have to tell you. Wang Shifan said faintly, I'm a private entrepreneur. You should be very clear that these things are very sensitive. They can't be made public easily. Well, if you don't say it, I will go to the bank to check your account. Xia Shui said indifferently, I hope you didn't lie to me just now. Well, today's inquiry will end here. If there is a need, I will come back to you. Okay. I will try my best to cooperate. Wang Shifan stood up and said to Xia Shui, Police Officer Xiao, I won't send you off. The company's business is busy. You don't have to send me off. Xia Shui waved her hand and left the office. Motherfucker. Wang Shifan said fiercely, this little girl actually came to check my assets. Fortunately, I was smart enough to open an anonymous account in a Swiss bank. Otherwise, she would have found it. When Xia Shui asked about his private assets, Wang Shifan was secretly shocked. It seems that Xia Shui must have noticed something. Otherwise, it is impossible to ask me these weird questions. It's really a headache. I don't know how my case at the police station is progressing. Wang Shifan picked up the phone and dialed the number of an acquaintance. Brother Tong, I heard that my brother-in-law seems to have committed a crime? After a while, Wang Shifan pretended to ask casually, What? Who said it? That's Xia Shui. No way. She was suspended from her duties? Okay, I got it. Wang Shifan hung up the phone and was annoyed for a while. Motherfucker, what the hell is this Xia Shui doing? She is suspended and still comes to find trouble with me? What did Brother Tong say? Asked Huang Yukai. It has nothing to do with us at all. It's all that Xia Shui's doing. She was suspended, but she still came to investigate the case. Motherfucker, she's really haunting. What is this girl's intention? Wang Shifan said angrily. No matter what her intention is, this girl must have suspected us. This isn't a good sign. Huang Yukai shook his head. It's not easy to handle. How do I say it? She has been suspended. What are we afraid of her for? Asked Wang Shifan. It's the suspension that's scary. Huang Yukai said, President Wang, do you see it? This Xia Shui is very difficult to deal with. If she wasn't suspended, there would be someone restraining her. She wouldn't dare to mess around. Now that she is suspended, it's hard to say. If we let her investigate like this, I'm afraid she will really find some clues. That's true. Wang Shifan nodded after listening. She is now completely not following the procedure. I don't know why she suspected us. Although there is no evidence, if she continues to be entangled like this, then it's really hard to say what will happen. This Xia Shui is a dangerous person. This kind of hothead is the most troublesome. Huang Yukai hesitated and said, President Wang, what do we do? Wang Shifan looked serious. While she is suspended, let's make her disappear forever. Huang Yukai said fiercely. This isn't good, right? After all, she is a policewoman. If we get rid of her, we will have a lot of trouble. We won't be able to get away at that time. Wang Shifan said with some worry. Chapter 565. Things have come to this point. It's not the time to be indecisive. If we don't take action once she finds out something, we will be done for, said Huang Yukai. Otherwise, let's control her first. As for killing her, let's wait and see. After all, this is not a trivial matter. She is different from Sudaji. Wang Shifan said after a moment of hesitation. Well then, let's catch her first. Huang Yukai said, anyway, she is now suspended. Even if she disappears for a while, others will only think that she went to relax. There won't be any doubts. Well, this matter should be done carefully. Don't expose your identity. Wang Shifan said, if the two of us are fine in the end, let her go. So don't show your face when you do it. I understand. Don't worry, President Wang. Huang Yukai nodded. The prescription for soaking the hands and feet was not found in Fong Tian's residence, but unexpectedly in the medical book that Lan Ling gave to him he found a similar prescription. As for the effect, Yang Ming was not clear, but he thought that Lan Ling would not lie to him. Must not be bad. So Yang Ming followed the medicinal materials on the prescription and went to the nearby prescription to get 234 sets of medicine, which was just enough for 39 people to use for 6 days. According to the prescription, it was a course of treatment. After 6 days, another prescription would be changed, which was very similar to Yang Ming's situation at that time. Yang Ming sent the Chinese medicine to Li Chong and told them how to use it. He also checked everyone's progress. These people's foundation was very good and their physical fitness was also very good, so it was not difficult to practice what Yang Ming taught. Overall, Yang Ming was very satisfied with everyone's performance. In addition to telling Li Chong to take everyone to train, Yang Ming corrected some of these people's non-standard movements. Killing people was killing people. There was nothing fancy about it. No matter how good the dance was, it was useless if it couldn't kill in one blow. What surprised Yang Ming was that Wu Ming was still very stubborn. He clenched his teeth and didn't say anything every day. Besides eating and sleeping, he just stayed quietly. He lived quite comfortably. However, since he didn't want to say anything, Yang Ming didn't force him. In fact, he already knew that he was backed by an organization called the Black Widow. Yang Ming asked Ho Zhenhan and Bao Sanli to investigate the organization after that day, but they had never heard of it. It was no wonder that the Black Widow was a relatively old assassin organization. It was impossible for the newcomers in the underworld like Bao Sanli and Ho Zhenhan to have heard of it. Only veteran gangsters like Gu Jinbiao had heard of it. However, in this information age where the internet was prevalent, Yang Ming's source of information was not limited to Bao Sanli. Yang Ming also searched for the keyword Black Widow through the internet. Of course, most of the Black Widow entries obviously had nothing to do with Wu Ming. For example, Black Widow was the name of a poisonous spider. Furthermore, in some novels the code name Black Widow had also appeared. These were all filtered out by Yang Ming. Finally, in the corner of a small forum, Yang Ming found a post that wanted to hire a murderer. The person who replied provided a URL and asked him to find a Black Widow organization. Yang Ming clicked on the URL with trembling hands. Yes, maybe this is what I am looking for. The website was very simple. The entire interface was black. There was a question option on it. Heavenly King covers Earth Tiger. Then there was a blank space for the visitor to enter the answer. Yang Ming simply entered Pagoda suppresses the river demon. As a result, the website prompted, the answer is wrong. Your IP has been locked by the system. Yang Ming refreshed again. The website could no longer be accessed. There was a prompt that said, this page cannot be displayed. It seemed that his IP had been blocked. However, it was precisely because of this that Yang Ming became more and more interested in this website. This website was definitely not ordinary. If it was an ordinary website, even if the answer was wrong, it wouldn't block the guest's IP address. The purpose of this website was probably to prevent someone from using brute force to crack the answer on the website. Yang Ming disconnected from the internet. After a while, he dialed up again and changed the IP address. This time he could log into the website. The question was still Heavenly King covers Earth Tiger. Yang Ming didn't dare to fill in randomly this time. Instead, he looked for some clues on the website. Intuitively, if this kind of website really belonged to an assassin organization, then it was impossible not to attract new customers. If it was so tightly blocked like this, there wouldn't be much profit just by relying on the old customers. Who would think about killing people all day long? However, Yang Ming wasn't very proficient in hacking technology. Although he studied computer science in university, and also learned a lot of hacking knowledge from the side, he wasn't a professional after all. He only knew a little. It was impossible for him to crack such a difficult website. Therefore, when Yang Ming felt that he had no hope of cracking it, he put the website aside. He wasn't prepared to artificially experiment with the answer to the question because it wasn't necessary at all. The probability of testing the password was smaller than a blind cat meeting a dead mouse. Moreover, even if Yang Ming's ADSL dial-up could change the IP address, frequent experiments would inevitably attract the attention of the people behind the website. It was possible that he had stumbled into this website once or twice by accident, but it was a little suspicious that he had persevered in cracking the code. In the evening, Xia Shui still asked Yang Ming to meet at the Bluefish Bar. It could be seen that Xia Shui was very excited today. When Yang Ming came, Xia Shui told Yang Ming all the things she did today. Yang Ming frowned as he listened. You went to find Wang Shifan? You just went to find him directly? Yeah, what's wrong? Asked Xia Shui. What's wrong? You asked him those questions. Aren't you obviously announcing to him that you have begun to suspect them? Aren't you looking for trouble? Yang Ming complained. So what? Xia Shui didn't understand. So what? You know what kind of person Wang Shifan is. Why did Su Daji disappear? I think it is very likely that he has been silenced by Wang Shifan. You went to his company today and made such a scene. If this guy is ruthless and does something bad to you, what should you do? Don't forget, Comrade Xia Shui, you are suspended. If you disappear at this moment, who will care about you? Yang Ming said with some resentment. Can you not use your brain when you do things? You think you are very powerful because you are a policewoman, but in the eyes of others, you are just a weak woman. Hee hee, you were talking about this. Xia Shui wasn't afraid, but she laughed instead, which made Yang Ming somewhat inexplicable. What's wrong with you? What's so funny about this? Yang Ming wondered. In fact, I did it deliberately. I just want Wang Shifan to do something desperate. If they really want to do something to me, doesn't it show that they have a guilty conscience? Then they must have a problem. Otherwise, they won't have a guilty conscience. Xia Shui said, I am luring the snake out of its hole. Oh. Yang Ming didn't expect Xia Shui, a girl who seemed to be insensitive, to have such a scheming side. Turns out to be like this. However, to be honest, your strategy is good, but it is too dangerous to implement. Now that you have handed in your gun, what do you use to fight with others? I think Wang Shifan shouldn't be so bold to kill me, right? After all, I am a policewoman. If he kills me, then he will have a big problem. Xia Shui said. Xia Shui, what do you want me to say to you? Yang Ming shook his head helplessly. If the person who killed Su Daji is Wang Shifan, and the mastermind of the smuggling is also him, then do you think his problem is small? Anyway, it is death anyway. It is better to take the risk to kill you. Maybe he can save his life. Xia Shui obviously didn't think of this. After listening to Yang Ming's analysis, she couldn't help but be dumbfounded. You mean Wang Shifan is really likely to kill me? I thought Wang Shifan would give me money to bribe me. Do you think that with your character the possibility of being bribed is high? Is Wang Shifan a fool? Yang Ming rolled his eyes. Miss, I think you shouldn't walk on the street these days. I don't want you to become a corpse the next time I see you. Although Xia Shui was dissatisfied with what Yang Ming said, she had no words to refute it. Indeed, I am still immature. I think too simply about the problem. I always idealize things. In fact, it is not the case at all. Thinking of this, Xia Shui began to be afraid. If it is really like what Yang Ming said, I am indeed in danger. Chapter 566. What should I do now? Should I tell Qin Fei about today's incident? Then I can stay in the police force. It is indeed safe. But after this case, I may not even be a police officer anymore. Qin Fei will definitely not let me go easily. During my suspension, I went out to investigate without permission and caused such a big trouble. Maybe I will be transferred out of the police force. Xia Shui had a headache. She didn't know what to do. She looked at Yang Ming. Then what should I do? You are the one who caused the trouble and asked me what to do? Yang Ming found it very funny. I say, Xia Shui, can you think about the consequences before you do something? If you always mess around like this, something will happen sooner or later. Mess around? You are the one messing around. Xia Shui's face was red. Obviously, she still understood this word. Because there was a rule in the usual discipline, no messing around with men and women. Xia Shui naturally knew what it meant. Who am I messing around with? We are together now. If I want to mess around, it can only be with you. Yang Ming joked. You are annoying, Xia Shui said, but her mood was much better. Seeing a smile on Xia Shui's face, Yang Ming breathed a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that this silly girl would take things too hard and go into a dead end. He deliberately said that to tease her. How is it? Are you in a better mood? Asked Yang Ming. Xia Shui was stunned, and then she understood Yang Ming's meaning. Thank you. Thank me for what? I didn't give you any ideas. Yang Ming looked at Xia Shui and said with a smile, forget it. I guess Wang Shifan is likely to take action against you in these 2 days. I will help you to the end. Don't leave me. If he dares to send someone, I will send him away. Xia Shui widened her eyes and looked at Yang Ming with some belief. What about me? Did you forget that time in the corridor? I was better than you, said Yang Ming. Nonsense. That was because you were shameless. You grabbed my leg and didn't let go. Xia Shui said shyly. It doesn't matter. Your strength is not good enough. A loss is a loss. How can there be so many reasons? Yang Ming snorted. If we fight again, I definitely won't lose to you. Xia Shui refused to accept it. Let's try it. Yang Ming took the opportunity to make a request. All right, if I lose, I'll treat you in the future. Xia Shui thought, no matter how bad I am, I should be able to tie with Yang Ming. Then I won't lose. Yang Ming still has to treat me. In fact, Xia Shue's family wasn't short of money, but because she insisted on becoming a criminal police officer, she fell out with her old man at home. Now she was living independently. Her old man usually didn't give her a penny. Xia Shui was still renting a house. Moreover, women always had a lot of things to spend money on. Although Xia Shui wore a uniform every day and could save the cost of selling clothes, cosmetics and nourishment products couldn't be saved, so she had to be careful every month. Therefore, going out to eat and drink every month became a luxury expense. Xia Shui finally found a long-term meal ticket like Yang Ming. How could she let it go easily? However, she wasn't willing to admit that Yang Ming's kung fu was better than hers. When Yang Ming challenged her, she was immediately unwilling. Xia Shui's kung fu wasn't as good as Ho Junhan. At that time, Yang Ming could easily control her. Now Yang Ming's kung fu had improved by leaps and bounds. Xia Shui's kung fu was very simple in the eyes of Yang Ming. To be honest, competing with her felt like bullying a child. "Do you want to compete now?" said Xia Shui. "Now?" Yang Ming smiled bitterly and looked around. "Do you think the boss will agree if we compete here? Then, let's go out?" asked Xia Shui. Yang Ming nodded and said, "This time it's still my treat, but I guess this is the last time. Let's wait and see," Xia Shui said as she stood up. "Who is afraid of who?" Yang Ming didn't answer. He found the boss to settle the bill and then walked out of the Blue Fish Bar with Xia Shui. In the past few days, Yang Ming had come continuously. The boss of the Blue Fish Bar naturally regarded Yang Ming as Xia Shui's boyfriend. "Young man, you are quite good. For so long, you are the first man to get close to the thorny policewoman Xia Shui." The boss gave a thumbs up and whispered. Yang Ming took the change and didn't explain. This kind of thing was very troublesome to explain. It was better not to explain. Yang Ming and he didn't have much interaction, so what he wanted to think had little to do with Yang Ming. Boss Xia Shui is not alone. There is a man beside her. Not far from the bar, a man with binoculars sat in a van like a van and said to a man in a wheelchair in front of him, "I saw it." The man said coldly, "Catch him together. I think Master Wang will be very happy." "Yes." The man with binoculars nodded. This man in a wheelchair was naturally Huang Yukai. He was sent by Wang Shifan to catch Xia Shui. Yang Ming was naturally an accident, but he believed that this accident would make the little master very happy in the future. As long as there was Yang Ming in his hand, he was not afraid that Zhou Jiejia would not comply. Although the people brought by Huang Yukai were members of the Wang family's special forces, Yang Ming and Xia Shui's skills couldn't be underestimated, so Huang Yukai didn't intend to confront them head-on. Therefore he was ready to use his wits. It depended on whether Yang Ming and Xia Shui's curiosity was strong enough. Today Xia Shui drank relatively little, so she was still very sober. After the two people left the bar, they walked to the community where Xia Shui rented. There was an empty space in the yard of the community, which was just right for the competition. In fact, there was no need to be so formal. In any place, Yang Ming could easily subdue Xia Shui with one move, but that would hurt Xia Shui's self-esteem. Yang Ming hesitated again and decided to be modest so that Xia Shui would look better when she lost. This silly girl was more straightforward. If she lost too badly and took things too hard, then it was not what Yang Ming wanted to see. "Well, let's start here." Xia Shui found a spacious place and said excitedly, "Okay." Yang Ming didn't care. Since Xia Shui chose the place, he had no opinion. "Wait." Xia Shui suddenly said, "If you win, I will treat you to a meal in the future. But what if I win? Our bet seems to be a bit unfair, right?" Yang Ming broke into a sweat after hearing it. He thought you can win. But he couldn't say that. He had to say, "Then what do you think?" "Let me think." Xia Shui looked up with a longing look as if she was sure of winning. She thought for a long time and said, "I can't think of it. You have already invited me to a meal at any time. I have nothing to ask for. It seems that you are not very greedy." Yang Ming listened and smiled. "Xia Shui, this girl turned out to have a cute side. How about this? If I win, you have to promise me one thing. As for what it is, I haven't thought about it yet. Wait until I think about it." Xia Shui had a bright idea and said, "Is this okay?" Yang Ming was dumbfounded. He just praised her for not being greedy and she immediately revealed her fox tail. Her condition was more greedy than any other condition. "Is it okay?" Xia Shui saw that Yang Ming didn't answer and she was anxious. Are you afraid of losing so you don't dare to promise? Let's talk about this next time. Yang Ming suddenly said faintly. Next time? Why? Are you going back on your word? Xia Shui immediately refused. It's not that I'm going back on my word, but someone is coming. Yang Ming pointed to the right. Xia Shui was stunned and turned her head, but she saw two macho men wearing masks coming over. Who are you? Xia Shui suddenly shouted. Stop. Miss Xia, we are here specifically to invite you. One of the macho men wearing a mask said. Invite me? Why are you inviting me? Xia Shui looked at the two people in front of her with vigilance and asked. My boss wants to see you. The macho man wearing a mask said with a blank expression. Who's your boss? I don't know him. If he wants to see me, why doesn't he come? Xia Shui said so, but her hand suddenly reached out and grabbed the mask on the macho man's face. Chapter 567. Pa. The macho man with the mask reacted very quickly. He grabbed Xia Shui's hand and sneered, Miss Xia, you better not show off in front of an expert. Don't force us to use force. Hey. Xia Shui pulled back her hand and swept her leg toward the macho man with the mask. The macho man with the mask was pushed forward by Xia Shui. His lower body was unstable. He couldn't dodge in time and was kicked. His calf was in pain. Hey Miss Xia, don't make trouble. Another macho man in black who hadn't spoken suddenly said, We are not here to fight with you, but to invite you to see the boss. Don't you want to know who our boss is? Who is it? Xia Shui heard it and immediately stopped. She looked coldly at the other macho man with the mask. Sudaji. The man in black said slowly. What did you say? Sudaji? Xia Shui was stunned on the spot. Not only was Xia Shui stunned, but Yang Ming also looked at the macho man in black in front of him inexplicably. Isn't Sudaji dead? The scene that I saw at Qin Fei's house, was it an illusion? Impossible. Judging from the braking system of the BMW, the authenticity of the illusion has been confirmed. Moreover, although Yang Ming couldn't control his special ability for the time being, he never doubted the powerful function of his special ability. The special ability wouldn't lie. Then it was obvious that the macho man in black in front of him was lying. The person who ordered him was someone else, but it was definitely not Sudaji. If Yang Ming didn't know that Sudaji was dead in advance, he might really believe this person's words at this time. You said that you are... Yang Ming wanted to speak, but Xia Shui had already spoken first. Sudaji? Is what you said true? Xia Shui asked urgently. Whether it is true or not, you will know when you go there. The man in black said with a fake smile, Miss Xia, don't delay time. Mr. Su said that he has something important to tell you. Xia Shui looked at the man in black. The expression on her face was a little hesitant, but in the end she said, You lead the way. Good, straightforward. The man in black praised and then said to Yang Ming next to him, Sir, there is nothing else for you. You can leave. This was also what Huang Yukai specifically said. Although Huang Yukai didn't understand Yang Ming's character, he thought that the more you chase him away, the more he wouldn't leave. Generally. Moreover, he also had a dispensable attitude towards Yang Ming. It would be great if he could capture him, but it would be fine if he couldn't. In his opinion, Yang Ming's threat to them was very small. However, he had misjudged Yang Ming's character. If it was another person and another matter, Yang Ming might really turn around and leave. But now the matter was related to Xia Shui's safety. Yang Ming had just agreed to let her follow him. The second was that things were strange. Yang Ming didn't believe that Sudaji was still alive, so the person behind the scenes was obvious. It must be Wang Shifan. Then it was better to beat them at their own game and follow these people. Yang Ming didn't believe that these people could do anything to him with his skills. Moreover, the reason why Yang Ming dared to go with him was that this time his special ability didn't give him a warning. Originally, Yang Ming wanted to tell Xia Shui that Sudaji was dead, but after thinking about it, this was only what he saw with his special ability of illusion. There was no definite evidence, so it was better not to say it. I am with her. Yang Ming didn't believe that the man in black in front of him would not let him go. Yang Ming had seen a lot of this kind of method of loosening the reins only to grasp them better. Besides, if they take Xia Shui away in front of me, aren't they afraid that I will turn around and call the police? Sure enough, the man in black didn't even hesitate and said directly, Go ahead. Since Xia Shui agreed to go with them, they weren't afraid that Xia Shui would run away. The two people led the way in tandem, guiding Yang Ming and the others to a sealed van. "Why are you following?" Xia Shui whispered as she walked. "I'm afraid that you won't come back." Yang Ming smiled. "Aren't you afraid that you won't come back?" asked Xia Shui. "Hee, that's impossible," Yang Ming said with certainty. "Bullshit." Xia Shui thought, this Yang Ming, if something really happens I have to protect him. He is really a burden. "Please." When they came to the van, the man in black opened the back door of the van and pointed to it. Yang Ming glanced at the interior of the van. It was a fully enclosed structure. There were no windows. However, the facilities inside were very luxurious. It was like a caravan. Yang Ming smiled faintly. He stepped forward and sat on the sofa inside. Xia Shui hesitated and followed him into the car. "Aren't you coming in?" Xia Shui saw that the two people were going to close the door, so she asked quickly. "We will sit in the front," a man in black said, and then the door was closed with a bang. Yang Ming inadvertently raised his head and looked at the driver's seat in front of the van through the thick steel plate. The driver's seat was very large. Could sit 4 people in front and back. However, when Yang Ming saw one of them, he understood everything. Huang Yukai, it really is him. Then it must be related to Wang Shifan. The car was closed. Obviously, he didn't want Xia Shui and I to know his existence. However, he never thought that Yang Ming could see through things. The car slowly drove on the road. Yang Ming closed his eyes. He seemed to be resting, but in fact he was secretly memorizing the itinerary of the car. "What are you doing? You still have the mood to sleep at this time?" Xia Shui pushed Yang Ming with her hand. "I'm not sleeping. I'm just taking a break." Yang Ming didn't open his eyes and replied directly. "Say, where do you think they will take us?" asked Xia Shui. "How would I know? I don't know fortune-telling." Yang Ming said, "Didn't he say? He will take us to see Sudaji." Sudaji disappeared for so long. Why did he suddenly want to see me? Xia Shui's IQ was obviously not enough. Obviously that person lied to you. Yang Ming rolled his eyes and glared at Xia Shui. "Can you stop? I'm listening to the engine speed of the car to predict how far we have traveled." Yang Ming casually made up a reason to ask Xia Shui to be quiet. Xia Shui was speechless. "You can even predict this? Don't disturb me. I can calculate it." Yang Ming snorted. "Now we have traveled 13 kilometers. Oh, then you can calculate it." Xia Shui didn't believe Yang Ming's words, but there was no way to verify it. Moreover, if Yang Ming could really calculate it, it would be of great use. "Then can you feel when the car turns and which way it will turn?" After a while, Xia Shui couldn't help but ask. Yang Ming opened his eyes and looked at Xia Shui. He was somewhat helpless, but he couldn't help it. This curious baby simply had too many questions. "Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. I can when I focus. Now that you're talking to me, I can't." Yang Ming said ambiguously. Xia Shui was speechless and closed her mouth obediently. "President Wang, we have caught the person." Things went smoothly. However, Yang Ming was also brought back. Huang Yukai began to make a call on the phone. "Yang Ming? Why did you bring him back?" Wang Shifan was stunned. "Hee, I think the young master will be happy. This guy caused Jitao to be so miserable." Huang Yukai smiled. "Well, since he is caught, then lock him up with the woman first." Wang Shifan thought about it. "I understand, hee." Huang Yukai finished and hung up the phone. However, his words were seen in Yang Ming's eyes. Although Yang Ming couldn't hear what was said on the other side of the phone, he was very sure that the person on the other side was Wang Shifan. It seems that the truth of the matter isn't far away. There are only a few days before the Chinese New Year. I simply let Wang Shifan go to prison for Chinese New Year's Eve dinner. Why can't I make a call here? Xia Shui played with the phone there and said to herself, "There's no signal?" Yang Ming looked at Xia Shui's phone and looked at Huang Yukai in front of him. Then he said, "Is there a shield in the car? Otherwise, you wouldn't hand over your phone when you got in the car." Oh. Xia Shui found that she didn't know as much as Yang Ming. Am I really not suitable to be a police officer? Yang Ming didn't care what Xia Shui was thinking now. He now began to plan how to collect evidence of Wang Shifan and let him fall as soon as possible. The car had been driving in the direction of the suburbs. Seeing that they were about to leave the city, there was still no intention to stop. However, Yang Ming wasn't in a hurry. He was waiting to see what would happen. Chapter 568. Half an hour later, the car slowly drove into a fully enclosed place that was similar to a factory, but it wasn't. It was more like a prison. After the car stopped, no one came to open the door for Yang Ming. Huang Yukai got off the car first. He was pushed by a black-shirt man who came and disappeared in front of a house. Then the door of the car was opened. The two black-shirt men stood outside. "We are here. Get off." It seemed that Huang Yukai was afraid of being discovered by Xia Shui and Yang Ming, so he left early. However, Yang Ming didn't say anything and got off with Xia Shui. "Where is Su Daji?" Xia Shui asked directly. "Follow us." After one of the black-shirt men finished speaking, he turned around and led the way. Although they knew that Yang Ming and Xia Shui couldn't escape here, the precautions were obviously stricter than before. The other black-shirt men were watching Yang Ming's side vigilantly. They were carefully on guard. Yang Ming was amused. "What's the use of being on guard? If I really want to make a move, you people aren't enough to fill the gap between my teeth." After the black-shirt man in front took Yang Ming into a villa, the few people at the door were slightly relieved. However, Yang Ming was very curious. "What is this place?" It seems that it must be Wang Shifan's private armed forces. However, looking at the well-trained appearance of these people, their strength shouldn't be underestimated. It was enough to stir up trouble in Songjiang. Because these people in front of him were only a small part. In the training room at the back, Yang Ming had already used his X-ray vision to investigate. There were as many as 200 people inside. He followed the black-shirt man to the door of a room. The black-shirt man stopped and said, "Miss Xia, please come in." Xia Shui didn't doubt him and went straight into the room. Yang Ming frowned. This room was obviously like a private room in a hotel. Even if you want to receive guests, you can't do it in such a place. However, Yang Ming had already known that all of this was a conspiracy of Wang Shifan. What Su Daji? It was obvious that he was tricking Xia Shui and him to be imprisoned here. However, since he was already here, he might as well make the best of it. If he wanted to imprison him, it wouldn't be so easy. Yang Ming glanced at the sturdy security door and the new lock on it. He indifferently raised the corner of his mouth. This wasn't a problem for him at all. Fang Tian's direct disciple was a piece of cake for these door locks. When Yang Ming and Xia Shui both entered the room, the black-shirt man suddenly closed the door with a bang sound. "Ah!" Xia Shui was immediately stunned. She looked at Yang Ming at a loss. "What happened?" "Silly girl. We are locked up here," Yang Ming said with a shrug. "Locked here?" Xia Shui was shocked. She quickly ran to the door and smashed it. "Open the door. What are you doing?" "Where's he?" No one answered him. Yang Ming glanced at the corridor outside. The two men in black had already walked away. It seemed that the room was relatively soundproof. The two black-shirt men didn't even turn their heads. "They don't knock. It's useless," Yang Ming said coldly. "Then what do we do now?" Xia Shui looked at Yang Ming anxiously. "There's no way. Let's wait and see." Yang Ming was very relaxed. He lay directly on the big double bed in the room. "Hey, this Huang Yukai is quite interesting. He actually arranged this kind of couple's room for me and Xia Shui. In this room there was a TV, air conditioning and a bathroom. It was a living hotel room." "Yang Ming, why aren't you anxious at all?" Xia Shui looked at Yang Ming, who was lying on the bed, and almost went berserk. "Anxious? Is it useful to be anxious?" Yang Ming smiled and said, "Since we are here, then just stay here. Wait. Someone will come sooner or later. They can't just catch us and ignore us." Seeing Yang Ming's indifferent look, Xia Shui was angry. She didn't know if Yang Ming was really confident or just heartless. However, Yang Ming was right. There was a harsh sound from a pair of speakers above the room, followed by a low male voice. Apparently, the voice was changed by the voice-changing equipment. It made people feel very uncomfortable. "Miss Xia and that gentleman, hello. Welcome to my villa as guests." Yang Ming snorted for a while. "Huang Yukai doesn't know me?" Pretend, but Yang Ming already knew his plan and purpose. He didn't speak and continued to listen. "He guessed right. I am Su Daji." The voice continued. "Miss Xia, the reason why I caught you is because you ruined my good deed. But you can rest assured. As long as you don't act rashly, I won't do anything to you." When Yang Ming heard the voice say that he was Su Daji, he almost laughed out loud. "Isn't this too funny? There should be a limit to how much you want to cover up." "Then what do you want to do?" Xia Shui shouted. "Nothing. I just invited you to be a guest. The voice replied, I heard that you are on vacation, so I found a good place for you to relax. I wish you and your boyfriend a good time. He isn't my boyfriend, Xia Shui said subconsciously. However, the voice had disappeared. No matter how Xia Shui shouted, the other party didn't respond. Boyfriend? Presumably, Huang Yukai deliberately instigated the speaker to say that to create the illusion that he was accidentally caught. Was he really caught by chance? Yang Ming didn't think so. From the phone call between Huang Yukai and Wang Jitao, it could be seen that Huang Yukai had a premeditated plan to catch him. Moreover, it was likely to be related to the resentment between him and Wang Jitao. Looking at Xia Shui, who was still shouting, Yang Ming sighed. Silly girl, don't shout. It's useless even if you shout. If you don't shout, what should we do? Xia Shui was a little discouraged, but she said after a while, Yang Ming. I'm sorry, what's wrong? Why are you suddenly apologizing? Yang Ming glanced at Xia Shui and asked, puzzled. I implicated you. Originally, this matter had nothing to do with you. In the end, you were also locked up. Xia Shui said with some embarrassment. Implicated? Do you think you are the one who implicated me? Yang Ming smiled bitterly in his heart. Probably my current situation is worse than Xia Shui's. Most likely after Wang Jitao knows about this, he will think of ways to harm me, right? But now Yang Ming wasn't afraid of him. Who is afraid of who these days? The fist is the hard truth. I am willing to follow. What does it have to do with you? Thinking so in his heart, Yang Ming definitely couldn't say it. After all, there was monitoring equipment in this room, so Yang Ming casually comforted Xia Shui. Huang Yukai was more humane. In addition to installing a microphone in this room, there was no camera or anything like that. Of course, those pinhole cameras had nowhere to hide under Yang Ming's strong eyesight. You really think so? Xia Shui looked at Yang Ming's unnervous look and she was a bit baffled. Why do I feel that you don't seem to be afraid at all? What am I afraid of? Yang Ming smiled and said, the environment here is good. There is also a beautiful silly girl accompanying me. It doesn't matter if I stay for a few more days. Yang Ming. Xia Shui finally couldn't help it. Can you not call me a silly girl? Am I really that silly? He's not that stupid, but he's a little bit of a tiger. Yang Ming laughed. You go to hell. Xia Shui turned around angrily, but after Yang Ming made such a fuss, her original nervous mood relaxed a lot. She took out her mobile phone and played with it. There was no mobile phone signal here. Jitao, I am your Uncle Huang. Huang Yukai smiled and called Wang Jitao. How is your body recently? Are you better? Uncle Huang, I am much better. After a period of recuperation, Wang Jitao's body was almost recovered. However, there was a sequela left. That was, no matter what, he didn't dare to go to the toilet in the middle of the night. He would rather wet the bed and shit his pants than go to the toilet. As a result, the Wang family's nanny had an additional job every day, which was to change the sheets for Wang Jitao. Fortunately, there was more time to urinate, and he could generally hold in his bowel movements until the next morning. However, even so, it was enough to torment Wang Jitao. Who wants to sleep on wet and smelly sheets? Jitao, I have good news to tell you, said Huang Yukai. Good news? What good news? Wang Jitao was somewhat inexplicable. He usually didn't contact Huang Yukai much. He didn't know what good news Huang Yukai was going to tell him at this moment. Chapter 569. Yang Ming was caught by me. Is this news good news? Huang Yukai laughed. Yang Ming? Wang Jitao's heart skipped a beat, but his expression did not change as he said, Uncle Huang, why did you capture him? Does my dad know? Hee Jitao, President Wang knows about this and agreed. I'm on my way to your house now. You prepare and then we will go together. Huang Yukai said. Then Wang Jitao was puzzled, but he still agreed. After all, what Huang Yukai said was too tempting for him. It was impossible to say that he didn't hate Yang Ming. He couldn't wait to tear Yang Ming into pieces. The hatred of stealing his love twice and the embarrassing situation at the Western restaurant made Wang Jitao tremble with anger when he thought of Yang Ming. However, for Yang Ming, Wang Jitao couldn't find an opportunity to deal with him. He couldn't beat him. Wang Jitao really had no way. Now that he heard that Huang Yukai caught him, his heart immediately became active. The time for revenge had come. Wang Jitao wasn't very clear about the matter between Wang Jitao and Huang Yukai, so Wang Jitao still called his father. Hello Dad, this is Jitao. Uncle Huang just called me and said that he caught Yang Ming. Oh yes, Yukai called you? Wang Shifan said after listening. Jitao, what do you want to do? Do it. Dad supports you. Really? Wang Jitao was very excited after listening, but he asked, Dad, but you asked Huang Yukai to catch Yang Ming. Is this okay? Isn't it easy to make things worse? What time is it? So what if things get worse? Wang Shifan smiled with some disdain. Jitao, there are some things at home. Dad will find time to tell you in detail. In short, you just need to know that Yukai is someone you can trust. Okay, I got it. Wang Jitao was somewhat inexplicable. He didn't understand why his father trusted Huang Yukai so much, but since his father said so, he must have his reasons. Although Wang Jitao would sometimes be hot-headed and do some impulsive things, he was not stupid. Listening to his father's tone, it seemed that he and Huang Yukai were doing some secret things. Not long after that, Wang Jitao received a call from Huang Yukai again. Jitao Huang. Hey Uncle Huang. I'll be right there. Wang Jitao hung up the phone, put on his clothes and walked out of the bedroom. Zhou Zhejia was still in the living room downstairs. When she saw Wang Jitao come out, she asked curiously, Wang Jitao, why did you come out? Aren't you going to rest? Zhejia, I'm going out. You play at home for a while. Wang Jitao said. Oh. Where are you going? Do you need me to accompany you? Zhou Zhejia's heart moved and asked. No need. Aren't you doing your computer homework? You can do it here or you can go home. Don't you have the key to the house? Just lock the door. Wang Jitao said. Okay, then you go. Huang Yukai felt that this was a person who could do great things. He was also full of confidence in his future young master. That's great. If this is the case, then I have to think about it. I didn't manage to hurt him last time. I almost got myself into trouble. Wang Jitao said happily. Jitao, in fact, you did a good job last time. You had a lot of ideas. It was just that you were a bit impulsive when you gave the photo to the girl named Chen something. Huang Yukai said, for this kind of thing, man proposes but God disposes. Who would have thought that the victim would suddenly betray us? Uncle Huang is right. Wang Jitao himself later felt that he was a bit impulsive. He shouldn't have given the photo to Chen Mengyan. Even if Yang Ming had doubts, there was no evidence. The car drove farther and farther away. In the blink of an eye, they were on the highway. Uncle Huang, where are we going? Wang Jitao frowned and asked. Although he had confirmed with his father that there was no problem with Huang Yukai, it was obvious that now they were going out of the city. Wang Jitao couldn't not have doubts. We are going to our Wang family's territory. Huang Yukai used the word our when he spoke. Obviously, he was showing his loyalty to Wang Jitao, making him feel that he was already on the same boat as the Wang family. The Wang family's territory? Why haven't I heard of it? Wang Jitao looked at Huang Yukai suspiciously. In fact, over the years I have been doing a big business with President Wang. It's just that Jitao, you are still young, so there are some things that I can't tell you. This time I am going to tell you these things. By the way, I will let you see how powerful the Wang family is. Huang Yukai said with some excitement. Then, why didn't my dad tell me personally? Wang Jitao asked hesitantly. There are some things that President Wang can't tell you. He can only tell you through my mouth. Huang Yukai sighed. Although what President Wang is doing is a big thing, as a father he doesn't want you to think that he is a bad guy. Bad guy? What's going on? Uncle Huang, can you make it clear? Why am I so confused? Wang Jitao turned to look at Huang Yukai and asked anxiously. In fact, over the years the business that President Wang took me to do has been smuggling. Huang Yukai looked at Wang Jitao and said slowly. This was also the result of his discussion with Wang Shifan. After all, the Wang family had reached a critical moment of survival. Some things should be known to Wang Jitao, the only heir. However, Wang Shifan couldn't open his mouth, so he entrusted Huang Yukai to do it. Huang Yukai didn't think that this was a disgraceful thing. On the contrary, he always felt that the winner was the king and the loser was a thief. How about smuggling? As long as it didn't commit any crime, it was awesome. What? Smuggling? Wang Jitao opened his mouth wide and looked at Huang Yukai. For a moment his brain was a little short-circuited. Uncle Huang, are you kidding? This joke is really interesting. Chapter 570. Jitao, I didn't joke with you. What I said is true. Huang Yukai patted Wang Jitao's shoulder and continued, why? You can't accept it? But Dad's company, isn't it already very profitable? Wang's Century Xiongfeng Group is one of the largest groups in Songjiang and even the province. Why is there still smuggling? It's impossible, right? Wang Jitao still couldn't accept this fact. Money, who doesn't want more? Huang Yukai said helplessly, the group is quite big, but this is only on the surface. You seem to be like this. In fact, I have been following your dad for many years. I am very clear about the internal situation of the group. It is definitely profitable. However, without the backing of the money your dad earned from smuggling over the years, the group would have gone bankrupt. What? Bankrupt? What do you mean? Wang Jitao looked at Huang Yukai inexplicably. How could it go bankrupt? Hey, the company doesn't make money on every project. If some projects aren't done well, they will lose money. For example, a few years ago, your dad saw a piece of land behind West Star Mountain and prepared to buy it to develop a villa area. As a result, the money was invested and the villa area was developed, but it couldn't be sold. Huang Yukai shook his head and said, how can it not be sold? Asked Wang Jitao. Because there was news at the time that a road from Songjiang was going to be built there, but later, it was caught up with the leadership change. This matter was delayed. Even if you find someone to mediate, it will take time. During this period, a lot of funds were overstocked on the villa. If your dad didn't have the income from smuggling, the group would have gone bankrupt. How could it stand for so many years? Huang Yukai smiled bitterly. Wang Jitao was stunned. Are you telling the truth? Why would I lie to you? Huang Yukai spread his hands. Moreover, the recent situation is very bad. We have been targeted by the police. It's hard to say whether your dad and I can escape this disaster. Therefore, we have to hand over the power of the Wang family to you as soon as possible. At that time, if something happens, we won't have anything to worry about. How is this possible? How could this be? Wang Jitao looked at Huang Yukai in surprise and his face changed slightly. Tao, don't worry. Maybe there will be a day when things turn around. Now the police have not started investigating us, but there is a policewoman named Xia Shui who took advantage of her vacation. But it doesn't matter, she and Yang Ming were arrested together. Huang Yotzizes said Xiao, so we are not in danger for the time being. Don't even dare to. Those who are bold will eat their fill and those who are timid will starve to death. How can one achieve great things without being ruthless? Say. Titi. And I. Say. Wang Jitao took a deep breath after listening, but finally nodded and said, you are right. Those who want to achieve great things don't care about trifles. I have thought of a good way to deal with Yang Ming. What is it? Huang Yotzai's mouth slightly showed a smile. Wang Jitao was more ruthless than Wang Shifan. He could accept this fact in such a short time and come up with a way to deal with Yang Ming. He was really not an ordinary person. Wang Jitao whispered in Huang Yotzai's ear about the plan he thought of at the last minute. Okay. Huang Yukai slapped Wang Jitao's thigh and exclaimed, that's great. This is a good move. In this way, even if we let the two of them go, Yang Ming is still dead. Wang Jitao's whole leg was a little numb from the slap. He endured the pain and gritted his teeth. As for why Huang Yukai didn't slap his thigh, the reason was very simple. It was because he had no legs. Zhou Jiejia had been waiting for this opportunity, the opportunity when there was no one at home. And today the opportunity she had been waiting for finally arrived. It was a coincidence that Wang Shifan's hand was burned by sulfuric acid. It was difficult for him to take care of himself, let alone touch the computer. In this way, the plan that Zhou Jiejia had laid before was completely useless. Wang Shifan didn't use the computer, so Zhou Jiejia didn't have a chance to invade his computer. No matter how powerful a hacker was, they couldn't invade a computer that couldn't be turned on. On the windowsill, after watching Wang Jitao go away, Zhou Jiejia immediately flashed out of the Wang family's villa. 20 minutes later, Zhou Jiejia returned to the Wang family's villa. At this time she had a small briefcase in her hand. This was the tool she prepared to crack Wang Shifan's computer. However, although the thing was brought, Zhou Jiejia still didn't dare to act rashly. It was almost evening. She wasn't sure if Wang Shifan would come home today. These days, Zhou Jiejia had roughly figured out Wang Shifan's pattern of action. Wang Shifan's hand was broken, so it wasn't convenient for him to drive. The most important thing was that the hotel that was cooperating with her mother was recently planning to open. The company had a lot of things to do, so he didn't come back often at night. He only came back once the day before yesterday, but it was also because a document was left in the study. After he came back to pick it up, he went back to the company. Of course, Zhou Jiejie wouldn't spend the night at Wang Jitao's house. Although she was just compromising now, she didn't want to have too much to do with Wang Jitao. She thought that she could only follow Wang Jitao in this life, but she didn't expect things to turn around. She got an amazing insider information from Chen Fei. Although Chen Fei also advised Zhou Jiejie that this undercover operation was very dangerous, who didn't want to pursue their own happiness. As long as the Wang father and son were defeated, she wouldn't be threatened anymore. Zhou Jiejie's heart rekindled hope, the hope for love. This girl who was very persistent in love, as long as it was for love for her lover, then she wasn't afraid of anything. Even if it was risky, she wouldn't refuse. Therefore, when Chen Fei proposed to let her go to the Wang family to be an undercover agent, Zhou Jiejie agreed almost without hesitation. She only had one belief, and that was that everything she did was for Yang Ming. Moreover, no matter what, even if Yang Ming misunderstood her now, it didn't matter because Qin Mengyan understood her. Not only did she understand her, but Zhou Jiejie also saw the sympathy for her from her eyes. Qin Mengyan didn't reject her. Zhou Jiejie was sensitive as a woman. She could clearly feel that Qin Mengyan wasn't hostile to her. This made Zhou Jiejie more excited than anything else. It has become a thing of the past, hasn't it? Although Yang Ming still couldn't forget her at present, it seemed that Qin Mengyan was Yang Ming's real girlfriend. She believed that as long as she won Qin Mengyan's sympathy and favor, it would be much easier for Yang Ming to accept her. Every time she thought of this, Zhou Jiejie's heart was sweet. It was precisely because of this that Zhou Jiejie could endure the disgust every day and be pleasant to Wang Jitao at Wang Jitao's house. However, although she was feigning civility every day, Zhou Jiejie wasn't a girl who didn't know self-respect. She didn't know that Wang Jitao had a problem in that aspect. She kept a certain distance from Wang Jitao every day in fear, fearing that Wang Jitao would ask her to do something inappropriate. Fortunately, recently Wang Jitao had just recovered from a serious illness. He looked weak every day. Most of the time he was lying in bed. Zhou Jiejie wasn't so worried, so she dared to stay in the Wang's house until late every day before leaving. Although Zhou Jiejie couldn't enter Wang Jitao's computer, she had browsed through Wang Jitao's computer. Unfortunately, there was nothing valuable in it. In addition to some games, there were some trashy movies that made people blush. Zhou Jiejie carefully hid her tool bag under the sofa and looked at the time on the computer excitedly. Generally speaking, after 8 o'clock, if Wang Shifan didn't come back, he wouldn't come back again. The car stopped in the courtyard where Yang Ming and Xia Shui were imprisoned. Wang Jitao and Huang Yukai, who was being pushed, got out of the car together. Wang Jitao was surprised and curious to see a team of black-shirt men patrolling back and forth in the courtyard. The expression on his face was unpredictable. What the hell is this place? Wang Jitao couldn't help but ask. This is where the Wang family's power lies. These people you see are members of the Wang family's special forces. Huang Yukai pointed to the team of black-shirt men patrolling. Wang family's special forces? Wang Jitao frowned. Why does this name sound like a spy agency? Yes, these people are the men of sacrifice trained by the Wang family at a high price. They are absolutely loyal. Huang Yukai said proudly. These people have not only been trained by several martial arts seniors, but also invited a world-renowned hypnotist to give them a spiritual suggestion. They will definitely carry out the tasks given by the higher-ups. Chapter 571. These people are very powerful. Wang Jitao felt that he was trembling with excitement. Is this the power of the Wang family? Is this my own power? In other words, these armed forces will belong to me? Wang Jitao suddenly felt like he was floating in the air. This feeling of holding absolute power was simply too wonderful. You come here. Huang Yukai casually pointed to a small person and then waved to him. The small person who was called immediately ran over. Brother Huang, what's the matter? Pa, Huang Yukai gave him a big slap. The small person was stunned at once. He looked at Huang Yukai in astonishment. Brother Huang, what's wrong with me? What's wrong? The young master is here. Didn't you see it? You actually asked me what's wrong first? Huang Yukai said angrily. The small person noticed Wang Jitao next to Huang Yukai. He quickly bowed his head and said respectfully, "Young master. Sorry, I didn't notice you just now. Please punish me, young master." These people were instilled from the beginning to be absolutely obedient to the father and son of the Wang family. Even if they had never seen Wang Jitao, they had seen Wang Jitao's photos during the previous training. It was just that there was always a certain difference between the real person and the photo. The small person couldn't think that the young master who had never appeared would suddenly come here. Therefore he neglected this. As for Huang Yukai, although these members of the special forces were also very respectful to him, this respect came entirely from Wang Shifan. If Wang Shifan wasn't satisfied with Huang Yukai, then he would become nothing at any time. The members of the special forces wouldn't even look at him. Therefore the father and son of the Wang family had absolute command in the special forces. This was also why Huang Yukai had been loyal and didn't dare to have the slightest disloyalty. He was very clear about the strength of the special forces. If he dared to have disloyalty, then he would die very miserably. He was different from Sudaji. Wang Shifan still had a kind heart to Sudaji because Sudaji was his wife's brother. But he and Wang Shifan were not relatives, so it was a bit hard to say. Forget it. I can't blame you for not knowing. Wang Jitao suddenly had a sense of superiority in his heart. He waved his hand generously and said, "What can you do? Young master, what do you want to test me?" Wang Jitao's words made the small person somewhat unable to answer, so he had to answer. "Oh, then can you split the block over there?" Wang Jitao and Wang Shifan. "Yes, young master." After the short man responded, he walked in the direction of the brick. Without any hesitation he casually picked up the brick. With a shout he used his other hand to split the brick in half. Right. You performed very well. What's your name? Replying to the young master, "My name is Li Baozhu." The small person replied, "I will remember you." Wang Jitao nodded and then waved his hand to indicate that he could go. Li Baozhu respectfully retreated. Wang Jitao's heart was excited. If I knew that my family had such an absolutely awesome power, why did I bother to hire Zhang Yuliang? I could have just found a few members of the Wang family's special forces. Wouldn't it be easy to fix Yang Ming? Needless to say, if it was Yang Ming at that time, he really couldn't beat the members of the Wang family's special forces. However, things had changed with the passage of time. Now even 10 Li Baozhu were not enough to deal with Yang Ming. It was fate. Wang Jitao didn't use the power of the Wang family's special forces to deal with Yang Ming. It was useless to regret now. These people are very powerful. Wang Jitao was very satisfied with Li Baozhu just now. In his opinion, it was already very good to be able to split the red brick with his bare hands. He didn't know about Yang Ming's powerful strength. He thought that Li Baozhu was very badass. As a matter of fact, people like Li Baozhu were trained by masters like Hun Tianba and Fei Tianqi. As their masters, Hun Tianba and Fei Tianqi weren't Yang Ming's opponents, let alone Li Baozhu. It's okay. That Li Baozhu isn't the most powerful. In the special forces, the powerful people are training in the indoor hall. Huang Yukai explained. There are people who are more powerful than him. Wang Jitao couldn't help but be overjoyed. The Wang family's special forces are divided into 3 teams. One is Team A, which is the most powerful of all the teams, but it is also the most disloyal. These people are all capable people who are recruited by President Wang. They are hired with a lot of money. We only have a relationship of interest with them. As for Team B and Team C, they are completely our own people. These 2 teams are all disciples of Team A's people. Huang Yukai explained in detail. Among these disciples, the better ones formed Team B, and those who were not very good formed Team C. The Li Baozhu you just saw is a member of Team C. It turned out to be like this. Wang Jitao nodded. His heart was even more proud. In his opinion, Li Guizhu was already very powerful. There was actually someone who was more powerful than him. Let's go and see Yang Ming first. Hey Jitao, let's go this way. Huang Yukai walked in front and led the way for Wang Jitao. Why isn't there a surveillance camera in the room? When Wang Jitao heard that there was no camera in the room, he was immediately disappointed. Catching Yang Ming was also my temporary idea, so I didn't prepare in advance. But it doesn't matter. The room has a security door. He can't play any tricks. said Huang Yukai. That's true. Right, what about the idea I said on the road? I can't wait. Wang Jitao had a physical defect, so his whole body and mind had become somewhat distorted. When he thought of his idea, he couldn't help but laugh. This laughter even made Huang Yukai, who had always been known for his conspiracy, couldn't help but shudder. This young master is really insidious. Don't you want to find someone to beat him up first? Huang Yukai suggested. No need. This guy is thick-skinned. It's useless to beat him up. I just want to watch him have fun. After that, I will go to hell. Wang Jitao sneered. That's insidious. Huang Yukai gave a thumbs up and then whispered, Jitao, I think it's a bit inappropriate to drug him. Why is it inappropriate? Asked Wang Jitao. Think about it. If we put an aphrodisiac in the food of Yang Ming and Xia Shui, then Xia Shui will definitely be aware of it. So even if Yang Ming does XX to her, she is likely to feel that this isn't Yang Ming's fault and forgive Yang Ming. Then wouldn't our efforts be in vain? Huang Yukai analyzed. What you said is very reasonable. Then what do you think we should do? Wang Jitao thought about it and felt that it was indeed like what Huang Yukai said. His initial setting was indeed a bit inappropriate. If you ask me, we can do this. I heard that Xia Shui likes to drink very much. Why don't we give them more wine? Said Huang Yukai. You mean to let them have sex after drinking? Asked Wang Jitao. This doesn't seem to be possible, right? Listen to me. What I want to say is that I know a colorless and tasteless aphrodisiac, but it is only effective for men. After women eat it, it has no effect at all. Let's put it in the wine and give it to Yang Ming to drink. Then Xia Shui won't be aware of it. Huang Yukai suggested. Then why do we give them wine? It's really beautiful. Can't we just put it in the food directly? Said Wang Jitao. There is one more thing that I didn't say. Huang Yukai smiled bitterly. That is, this drug has a good side and a bad side. The good side is that it is only effective for men. The bad side is that the effect is not as strong as other drugs. It belongs to the kind that is relatively slow. So I suggested to put this drug in the wine. Don't you want to say it? Wine is a sexual medium. In this way it can play some auxiliary role in the drug effect. Turns out to be like this. Then let's do as you say. Wang Jitao sneered. Yang Ming, you were lucky to escape last time. This time you raped the policewoman. I want to see if you still won't die. The prepared food and wine were quickly delivered to Yang Ming and Xia Shui's room. There was also a special kitchen in the base, so the food and wine were naturally prepared very quickly. A small window opened above the security door, and a black-shirted man handed in the food and wine. Xia Shui was stunned, and then she shouted at the person, Where is the person who ordered you? Ask him to come and see me. Yang Ming didn't care about that. He walked straight over and took the food. The person didn't say anything. When he saw Yang Ming take the food, he closed the window and left. Yang Ming had been dealing with Xia Shui, otherwise he wouldn't have neglected that Wang Jitao had come here. Chapter 572. After taking the food and wine, Yang Ming put it on the coffee table and said to Xia Shui, Come and eat. You haven't eaten yet, right? You dare to eat the food they sent? Aren't you afraid of being poisoned? Xia Shui glared at Yang Ming. If they want to harm us, do they need to poison the food? Yang Ming smiled. If you don't eat, I can eat it myself. Who said I don't want to eat? Xia Shui actually knew this truth, but the person who sent the food just ignored her question, so she was a little angry. If you want to eat, come over quickly. It looks good. It's quite appetizing. Yang Ming smiled and said, The preparation is quite thoughtful. I know that you like to drink and I even prepared wine for you. Seeing the delicious food on the coffee table, Xia Shui couldn't help but feel hungry. She was just arguing with Yang Ming in the Blue Fish Bar, so she didn't ask for anything to eat. Now she was really a little hungry. Seeing that Yang Ming had already grabbed a chicken leg to eat, Xia Shui immediately couldn't sit still. She directly grabbed a can of beer and opened it. Then she picked up a chicken wing on the table and ate it. Originally, Xia Shui had a carefree temperament. At this moment she temporarily forgot the trouble of being caught and ate. Needless to say, the cooking skills of the chefs here were quite good. Yang Ming couldn't stop praising it. How could he know that Wang Jitao was afraid that he and Xia Shui wouldn't eat to their heart's content and wouldn't drink? So he let the chefs do their best to make such a delicious meal. Fortunately, there was no camera in the room, but there was sound monitoring, so the dialogue between Yang Ming and Xia Shui was passed to Wang Jitao's ears without missing a word. Wang Jitao heard that Yang Ming and Xia Shui were ready to eat and he was relieved. He waited there eagerly for the exciting moment to come. Yang Ming and Xia Shui exchanged drinks and they were relaxed and happy. Yang Ming had nothing to worry about at all. This kind of place couldn't trap him. If he wanted to leave, it was very easy. As for Xia Shui, she couldn't think of any other way to leave here anyway. When she saw Yang Ming eating so comfortably, she thought that she couldn't let her stomach suffer, so she let go of her thoughts and ate. This wine is not bad. It's a pity that I gave too little. I only took 4 cans. Who can drink enough? Xia Shui looked at the beer in her hand with some regret. Yang Ming smiled. Xia Shui was really cute. Just now she was still thinking about how to get out. Now that there was good wine and good food, she completely forgot where she was. They can hear us. I'll ask them for more. Yang Ming raised his head and shouted in the direction of the monitoring microphone, "Is there any more beer? Bring me some more." In fact, there was no need for Yang Ming to say anything. Wang Jitao was already preparing. He was just afraid that Yang Ming wouldn't drink. As a result, when he heard Xia Shui say that there wasn't enough wine, he was immediately overjoyed. He was so happy that he quickly ordered his men to prepare. Not long after, there was a knock on the door outside the room again. Yang Ming glanced at the door and said to Xia Shui, "I guess they are here to send us wine." "Oh, it can't be. They caught us and they are so good to us. Good wine and good food." Xia Shui had some doubts. "I guess as long as we don't make any noise and stay obediently, they will try to satisfy any request we have," Yang Ming said deliberately. Wang Jitao and Huang Yukai listened to Yang Ming's words, but they were relieved. They thought, "I didn't expect you to be so sensible." Yang Ming got up and walked over. He said to the door, "Who is it?" "Ka." The window on the door opened. It was the black shirt man just now. "The boss heard that you didn't have enough wine, so he asked me to send another box. Hey, thank your boss for me." Yang Ming grinned and took the beer. Yang Ming's current thoughts were to wait and see. The Wang family actually had such a big secret base. This was what Yang Ming didn't expect before. This time he and Uncle Chen jointly made such a big move. Wang Shifan's downfall had become inevitable, but it certainly wouldn't have much impact on Wang Jitao. After all, the smuggler was Wang Jitao, not his son Wang Jitao. It could only be said that after Wang Shifan's downfall, the impact on Wang Jitao was great. At least the previous sense of superiority was gone. Wang Jitao had become a young master in dire straits. As for Wang Jitao, who was used to living a rich life, if he suddenly lost his father, he would definitely not be able to bear the blow. It was probably the same for him. However, this person was too narrow-minded. He would definitely take revenge. Yang Ming was afraid that he would crazily retaliate against Yang Ming and entangle with Yang Ming endlessly. Now, if Wang Jitao controlled such a big base, then Yang Ming would definitely have endless troubles in the future. Although he wasn't afraid of him, he could still be annoyed to death. Therefore, Yang Ming decided to explore the bottom line and see if he could destroy this base in one fell swoop. In that case, Wang Jitao wouldn't have anything to rely on to make a comeback. He wouldn't be able to stir up any big waves. Xia Shui might also know that they were being monitored, so she no longer talked about escaping or related to the smuggling case. The two people chatted about everything, just like a pair of old friends who hadn't seen each other for many years. "Yang Ming, didn't you say that you are better than me? Well, I will give you a chance now. Let's compete here and see who is better." After a few bottles of beer plus the ones that were drunk in the bar before, Xia Shui was a little drunk. She stood up and pointed at Yang Ming. "Do you dare? The bet is still the previous one. The previous one. Whether we can get out or not is still a matter." Yang Ming looked at Xia Shui and said, "Fighting in the room, isn't it a joke for the enemy? I don't care. Do you want to compete?" Xia Shui asked again. "Okay, I won't compete. I'll admit that you are better, okay? Just take it that you won. I haven't eaten enough yet. Come, continue to eat." Yang Ming now didn't have the mood to accompany Xia Shui. It was different from the previous situation. Now Yang Ming didn't have to show that he was better than Xia Shui. Anyway, both of them were locked together. Xia Shui couldn't leave even if she wanted to. "Yang Ming, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by admit defeat? What do you mean by admit defeat?" After Xia Shui heard it, she glared at Yang Ming. "Yang Ming, are you looking down on me? Garlic is for eating. It's for driving a train. Yang Ming said indifferently, hurry up and eat or I will eat it all. Eat your big head. Yang Ming, stand up for me. Xia Shui was angry. The more Yang Ming smiled, the more Xia Shui felt that he was looking down on her. She was even more annoyed. She directly reached out to grab Yang Ming. Are you done yet? Yang Ming's temper was good, but there had to be a limit. Like Xia Shui, who provoked him again and again, even a clay figurine couldn't stand it. Yang Ming put down the beer can in his hand. He glared at Xia Shui and said, hurry up and eat or else I won't be polite. You won't be polite? Well, I would like to see how you won't be polite. Xia Shui was worried that Yang Ming wouldn't compete with her. When she saw Yang Ming was angry, she was even happier in her heart. She looked at Yang Ming with a smile. Forget it. Don't cry later. I still have to coax you. Yang Ming stood up and sat back down. He waved his hand as if he was a great person who didn't mind a petty person. He picked up a piece of rib and gnawed on it. Yang Ming, if you are a man, you stand up. I want to fight with you one-on-one. Xia Shui was so angry that her teeth began to tremble. What do you mean by crying? When I was in the police academy, I survived the tough training and didn't cry. How can I cry just because of a competition? Xia Shui felt that Yang Ming was insulting her. Since ancient times, women weren't inferior to men. This Yang Ming's words obviously meant that a good man wouldn't fight with a woman. How could Xia Shui stand it? It's this trick again. If Yang Ming didn't stand up now, then he wasn't a man. So for the dignity of his gender, Yang Ming had to stand up. He took out a wet towel and wiped his hands. Then he stood up slowly. Well, let's say it first. If you lose, you lose. If you win, you win. Don't be unconvinced. Okay, let's talk about it after we fight. Xia Shui saw that Yang Ming accepted the challenge and couldn't wait to nod. Then come on. Yang Ming also nodded. Xia Shui couldn't wait to make a move. Wait. Yang Ming suddenly made a truce gesture. What else do you want? Why are you using the stool? Yang Ming looked at the floor that was hit by the stool and said with some annoyance. How about it? Are you going to bite me? Xia Shui looked at Yang Ming and said provocatively. Bite? Yang Ming broke into a sweat. This silly girl, can this be said casually? Doesn't she know that bite has other meanings? However, when he thought of the previous long-term meal ticket, Yang Ming was not surprised. Yeah, if you have the guts, bite me. Xia Shui thought that Yang Ming didn't dare, so she continued to shout. Yang Ming was speechless. He only felt a heat in his heart. He really had the urge to bite her. The scene in the toilet that he saw before for some reason appeared in front of him again. Yang Ming sighed. He didn't intend to be entangled with Xia Shui anymore. The most important thing was to end the battle quickly. Seeing Yang Ming approaching, Xia Shui didn't show any weakness. She was originally a Sanda master. When she was at the police academy, she even won the first place in the school's fighting competition. In her opinion, no matter how good Yang Ming was at fighting, he was just a little punk. How could the fighting style of a punk be compared to a formal Sanda? Hey! Xia Shui punched at Yang Ming with full strength. It seemed that she was ready to show Yang Ming her strength. Did you not eat enough? Yang Ming dodged the blow inadvertently and ridiculed. I just asked you to finish your meal first. Why are you so weak now? Xia Shui snorted coldly. She didn't expect that her fierce punch would be dodged by Yang Ming. She was immediately dissatisfied. The speed of her punch also increased. Are you done? Yang Ming seemed to reach out his hand, but he just happened to grab Xia Shui's left and right wrists. Let go. Xia Shui didn't expect that she could be caught by Yang Ming. She was a little annoyed as she pulled her hands behind. Let go for what? Let go of you and continue to be a monkey? Yang Ming snorted. Okay, are you going to admit defeat or not? Who lost? Xia Shui suddenly raised her leg and used her knee to hit Yang Ming's lower body. Fuck. Yang Ming cursed and quickly bent his body back. Because his hands were holding Xia Shui's hands, even if he dodged back, his abdomen was still hit by Xia Shui. However, this was better than blocking little Yang Ming. Yang Ming was really a little angry now. In the beginning, he had the attitude of playing with Xia Shui. He didn't really make a move. But at this moment, seeing that Xia Shui actually used such a move, it would be strange if Yang Ming didn't get angry. You fucking want me to die without descendants. Yang Ming angrily hugged Xia Shui and carried her up. Who asked you not to let go? After Xia Shui kicked, she already regretted it. I was too impulsive. Yang Ming wasn't the fugitive that I caught. Yang Ming was my friend now. Although it was a competition, it was impossible to use such a sinister move. Therefore, Xia Shui had actually held back a lot of strength, but Xia Shui's only shortcoming was that she was stubborn. Now that she saw that Yang Ming was angry, she was even more unwilling to admit her mistake. Chapter 574. It seems that they are really fighting. Wang Jitao frowned. It's quite intense. What's going on? Huang Yukai scratched his head and said, Is the effect of the drug not enough? Damn, if you ask me, who should I ask? This idea is yours. Now it doesn't work. What should I do? Wang Jitao said angrily. Let's wait and see. It should be that the drug effect hasn't taken effect yet. It's good to let these two people warm up. Huang Yukai said, the more intense the fight, the greater the contradiction between the two people. When the drug effect suddenly takes effect, if Yang Ming XX Xia Shui, then Xia Shui will obviously think that he is angry and retaliating against her. Then Yang Ming will definitely be finished. Good idea. Wonderful, it's really wonderful. After Wang Jitao heard it, he clapped and said, Uncle Huang, you are thinking long term. Hee, you flatter me. I am giving advice for you and President Wang. Huang Yukai said respectfully. Yang Ming had been made red by Xia Shui. This Xia Shui, I really have to teach her a lesson. Fortunately, I am agile. If I were an ordinary person, I would be crippled on the spot. Yang Ming directly threw Xia Shui on the bed. He was hot-headed. He took off her pants, revealing the white inside. Yeah. What are you doing? Xia Shui was shocked and quickly exclaimed, Why are you taking off my pants? Don't be noisy. Yang Ming said angrily, If I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know the immensity of heaven and earth. As Yang Ming said, he raised his hand and slapped Xia Shui's butt. A red palm print suddenly appeared. Xia Shui screamed loudly. She tried to break free but she couldn't. Yang Ming pressed her legs with his legs and pressed his other hand on her body. She couldn't move at all. Yang Ming seemed to have taken off Xia Shui's pants. Wang Jitao was overjoyed. Is the drug working? Why do I feel like it's Yang Ming hitting Xia Shui's butt? Huang Yukai wondered. Who cares? I think it's about time. Maybe Yang Ming has some special hobby and likes to play some kind of torture. Wang Jitao said excitedly. I guess so. Huang Yukai also nodded. Pop. Yang Ming was getting more and more excited, but he didn't want Xia Shui to be in too much pain. The strength of his hand had changed from the initial full strength to the current state where there was only a sound and not much pain. Yang Ming, you stop. Xia Shui had lived for so long, but this was the first time she had suffered such a big insult. She was already fuming with anger. Stop. When I told you to stop just now, why didn't you listen to me? Yang Ming lectured as he hit. Aren't you awesome? Aren't you awesome? Let's see if you're still awesome now. Yang Ming, I'm going to kill you. Xia Shui was ashamed and angry. She was a girl and an unmarried girl. She was actually taken off her pants and spanked by Yang Ming. If this spread out, how could she still have the face to live? You still don't accept it, right? Yang Ming was suddenly amused. If you don't accept it, I will continue to hit you until you accept it. Yang Ming, if you have the guts, don't let me get up. If I get up, it will be your death date. Xia Shui roared. Hey, then I won't let you get up. Although Yang Ming was talking to Xia Shui, his hands didn't stop at all. He continued to spank Xia Shui's butt, making a pop-pock sound. Xia Shui saw that Yang Ming wasn't afraid of her no matter how she threatened him, so she closed her mouth, clenched her teeth, and silently endured the humiliation. Yang Ming didn't care so much. However, he didn't know why, but Yang Ming's heart was unusually excited. Gradually, the force that was hitting Xia Shui was basically gone. What was left was more and more like stroking Xia Shui. Xia Shui was already prepared for her butt to explode, but later she felt that something was wrong. Yang Ming wasn't hitting her but more like giving her a massage. Could it be that Yang Ming found his conscience? Seeing that her butt couldn't bear it, he rubbed it for her? Xia Shui thought strangely. However, if it were other parts, it would be fine. But Yang Ming was rubbing her butt now. How can this kind of part be touched by others? Moreover, after being touched by Yang Ming, Xia Shui suddenly had a very strange feeling, which made her a little excited and a little nervous. The previous pain was completely gone, and it was replaced by another feeling that she had never felt before. It was uncomfortable, but it was somewhat comfortable. It was comfortable, but it was a very intolerable kind of comfort. Isn't there a saying that one should welcome while rejecting? Xia Shui was in such a mood now. This made Xia Shui somewhat don't know what to do. Obviously, she felt that being touched by Yang Ming like this shouldn't be, but she was somewhat reluctant to give up this strange feeling. On the other side, Xia Shui was fiercely struggling in her heart, and Yang Ming's expression on the other side also began to become absent-minded. Looking at Xia Shui in front of him, a very evil idea suddenly appeared in his mind. Push, push. Push Xia Shui down. Anyway, I have already touched it, so it doesn't matter anymore. Looking at Xia Shui now, she doesn't seem to be very repulsed by me. Then why not? As he thought about it, Yang Ming couldn't help but reach out to Xia Shui's lower body. Xia Shui was shocked and immediately woke up from the chaotic state just now. How could Xia Shui not be nervous when her sensitive part was attacked? That part was different from her butt. She couldn't let Yang Ming touch it. Xia Shui, who was awake, immediately yelled at Yang Ming. Yang Ming, what are you doing? You dare to be a hooligan? Yang Ming was yelled at by Xia Shui and he suddenly woke up a lot. His hand movements immediately stopped. What was I doing just now? Recalling his previous thoughts, Yang Ming was shocked. Why did I have such a thought just now? I actually wanted to rape Xia Shui? If I really did that, how should I deal with my relationship with Xia Shui? If Qin Fei knew about it, what should I do? Thinking of this, Yang Ming immediately broke out in a cold sweat. He quickly retracted his hand and looked at Xia Shui awkwardly. I just wanted to teach you a lesson. Then where did your hand reach? Xia Shui said angrily. Forget it. Yang Ming knew that it was useless no matter how he explained it. The facts were the facts. His heart was a little upset. What is this? Why do I feel so strange today? Why am I so impulsive? When Xia Shui saw Yang Ming like this, she felt even more wronged in her heart. You touched it for nothing? Forget it. She really wanted to tear Yang Ming into pieces, but she didn't know why, but her whole body was very weak. He was too lazy to beat up Yang Ming. She lay on the bed and actually cried. Yang Ming was shocked by this cry. In his opinion, Xia Shui was a careless person. She had the temperament of a man. It was impossible for her to cry. Why did she suddenly cry? Xia Shui, what happened to you? Yang Ming asked carefully. Xia Shui didn't answer. She just kept sobbing. Yang Ming sighed and let go of Xia Shui helplessly. He stood up. Xia Shui, I was wrong. Don't cry, okay? What answered him was still sobbing. You won and I lost. In the future I will treat you to a meal every day, okay? It couldn't be helped. Yang Ming could only start to tempt Xia Shui with conditions. Who asked him to be the one at fault this time? He actually had lust for Xia Shui. He really reaped what he sowed. Xia Shui still didn't answer. Yang Ming shook his head and smiled bitterly. He turned around and went to the bathroom. Why is my mind so muddled today? After Yang Ming washed his face, he leaned on the windowsill of the bathroom. He took out a cigarette, lit it and smoked. Yang Ming rarely smoked now except when there was something bothering him, such as now. If Xia Shui continued to make trouble like this, if Chen Mengyan knew about it, he would definitely be finished. Attempting to have an affair with the female subordinate of Chen Mengyan's father. This is a big crime. Let Xia Shui calm down. I should stay in the bathroom for the time being. Anyway, I don't know how long I will be locked up. I have plenty of time to counsel this silly girl. Now Yang Ming didn't intend to fight with Xia Shui anymore. Whoever wants to be more powerful can be more powerful. If she wants to eat my food, then I will treat her. Who asked me to take advantage of her? Although I just touched it and didn't feel anything, I still touched it after all. I can't deny it even if I want to. Chapter 575. What's the matter? Wang Jitao wondered. I don't know. Why did Yang Ming suddenly stop? Huang Yukai was also somewhat inexplicable. Just now Wang Jitao felt that it was good. When he heard Xia Shui shouting rogue, he was very happy. But suddenly Yang Ming seemed to have a conscience and stopped. Damn, how can this kid be so patient? Wang Jitao was so angry that he gritted his teeth. We are about to enter the most important topic. This kid can still hold it. It seems that your drug is not effective. Huang Yukai was also sullen. He was so angry. This Yang Ming didn't give me face. This was the first time I showed my strategy in front of the future master. I was feeling good about myself and then such a thing happened. No, I can't let the future master look down on me. Huang Yukai frowned and thought about a new strategy. I got it. Huang Yukai slapped his thigh and shouted. What's wrong? Is there any good strategy? Wang Jitao asked quickly. I thought of a good idea. Huang Yukai said, don't they have a TV in their room? What about it? Asked Wang Jitao. This TV is connected to our control room. We can control the TV at any time and broadcast the program. Huang Yukai explained. What does this have to do with that? Wang Jitao wondered. Uncle Huang, can you be more direct? Let's show Yang Ming a lifestyle film. Isn't that simple? Huang Yukai said, since he can hold it now, let's light up another fire. Let's give him some stimulation. Let's see if he can still hold it. Awesome. It's awesome. Wang Jitao said after listening, then hurry up. I will arrange for someone to do it. Huang Yukai nodded and immediately found an underling. You go now and buy me some lifestyle films immediately. Lifestyle films? This underling was more honest. He didn't know what it meant. Porn. Huang Yukai explained. Porn. The underling still didn't understand. It's porn. Wang Jitao shouted impatiently. Porn, do you understand now? Understood. I will get it now. The underling nodded quickly. Get something fierce. Something like Wu Ting Lan Hong Yin and so on. Wang Jitao added. Hey, I got it. The underling said. 10 minutes later, the TV in the room where Yang Ming was in the room. Calm. Yang Ming was smoking in the bathroom and didn't pay attention to the situation outside. Calm, is. What was that sound? But, where? On the TV, a naked woman was masturbating. Xiaoshui quickly lowered her head. Why did the TV suddenly turn on? Yes, it must be Yang Ming. This rogue. Xiaoshui ran to the TV in a few steps. She wanted to turn off the TV, but she helplessly found that the TV was installed inside the wall. There was no switch on the outside. Then the possibility of Yang Ming doing something bad could be ruled out. But how did the TV turn on? Although Xiaoshui was looking for the switch back and forth, her eyes couldn't help but see the TV screen. Why is the woman on TV so shameless? Xiaoshui scolded in her heart. However, scolding was just scolding. The TV program was still on. Although Xiaoshui belonged to the kind of girl who was more insensitive, it was impossible that she didn't know about the relationship between men and women. Especially in the criminal police industry, she knew more than other girls when it came to some cases. However, this was just knowing what was going on. She hadn't actually seen the real thing, let alone personally experience it. Therefore, although Xiaoshui felt that the things on the TV were vulgar, she couldn't help but look up and continue to watch curiously. At this time, a macho man appeared. The woman on TV screamed in pleasure. It made Xiaoshui suddenly have a feeling of dryness in her mouth. Bah! Shameless. Xiaoshui scolded in her heart. Doing this kind of thing and still shamelessly making it into a movie. It is really a disgrace to the people of the world. She didn't know why, but Xiaoshui suddenly remembered the wonderful feeling of Yang Ming touching her. Could it be that this is the so-called feeling? Xiaoshui was dizzy. No way. I was just greedy for that kind of feeling. Then what is the difference between this and the woman on TV? However, this thought was only for a moment. It was immediately diluted by curiosity and nervousness. Xiaoshui watched the TV intently and her breathing became very rapid. Her teeth bit her lower lip tightly and her whole body was nervous. As the man and woman on TV kept changing their postures, the range of their movements became more and more exaggerated. Xiaoshui also became more and more nervous. Xiaoshui felt that her body was about to burn. She was exhaling hot air. What happened to me? Although the sound of the TV outside wasn't very loud, Yang Ming didn't hear it at the beginning, but later the woman on TV was getting louder and louder. It was impossible for Yang Ming not to hear it. Hearing the strange sound, Yang Ming was very embarrassed. He thought, could it be that Xiaoshui, this silly girl, couldn't help but touch me? But isn't this sound a bit too exaggerated? He couldn't help but be curious. Yang Ming still used his X-ray vision to look into the room, but he didn't expect Xiaoshui to be lying in front of the TV, watching the top-notch blockbuster without blinking. I'm going to faint. Yang Ming almost lost his footing and fell. Isn't this too funny? Just now she seriously said that I am a hooligan and cried. Now she is actually watching the blockbuster excitedly. Yang Ming originally wanted to go out and make fun of Xia Shui immediately, but he thought about it again. I just provoked her just now. If I go out now and ruin her good thing, then it won't be easy to handle if she is unreasonable again. It is better to let her watch for a while. When her mood is better, what happened to me just now won't be a big deal. Thinking of this, Yang Ming dispelled the idea of going out immediately. He simply turned on the water in the bathroom and prepared to take a shower to sober up. I was too impulsive just now, which almost led to a big disaster. So Yang Ming was ready to take a shower to keep himself awake. Don't do anything stupid. Zhou Jiejie looked at the time. It was estimated that Wang Jitao couldn't come back tonight, and Wang Jitao's mother wasn't here during this time. Zhou Jiejie was still wondering why she didn't see Wang Jitao's mother. It turned out that after Wang Jitao killed Su Daji, he was afraid that Wang Jitao's mother would notice something, so he found an excuse to tell her that the police were tracking Su Daji, and it might involve him. He asked her to go back to her mother's house to stay for a while and keep a distance from him to avoid the limelight. Zhou Jiejie tiptoed into Wang Shifan's study room. She first moved Wang Shifan's computer mainframe from the desk. Then she took out a heat gun from her toolkit. She connected it to the power source and heated it against the warranty label on it. This was a good method that Zhou Jiejie found on the internet. It was said that many profiteers used this method to open the fragile one-time seal of some goods. After heating, the glue on the fragile seal became a lot softer and it could be completely torn off. Zhou Jiejie carefully removed the fragile seal and there was a smile on her face. It was really complete. There was no damage. After carefully putting away the fragile seal, Zhou Jiejie took out a screwdriver and nimbly disassembled the case of the mainframe. Then she unplugged the data cable on the hard disk inside and directly connected it to the data cable she brought. Opening the laptop, Zhou Jiejie excitedly began to search the data in Wang Shifan's hard disk. Sure enough, in a hidden folder in the D drive, this simple method of hiding files was a piece of cake for Zhou Jiejie. Under the folder, Zhou Jiejie found 2 Excel documents. One was called Purchase Account, and the other was called Sales Details. With excitement, Zhou Jiejie opened the documents. Sure enough, seeing the names on it, Zhou Jiejie's breathing became rapid. This is it. This is Wang Shifan's smuggling account book. Zhou Jiejie didn't dare to delay. She quickly sent the 2 documents to the mailbox specified by Chen Fei. After finishing, Zhou Jiejie quickly began to clean up the mess. However, at this time downstairs there was the sound of a key opening the door. Chapter 576. Zhou Jiejie was shocked. She quickly sped up the speed of her hands and put the disassembled computer box back. But how could this be done immediately? Not only did the original hard drive cable have to be plugged back, but the screws and breakable label had to be installed as well. Even if Zhou Jiejie was fast, it was too late. Zhou Jiejie only felt that her heart was squeezed together. She only hoped that the person wouldn't enter the study. However, things often went against her wishes. Zhou Jiejie didn't wait for half of the installation, and there were footsteps behind her. Hey, Jiejie, what are you doing? Wang Shifan looked suspiciously at Zhou Jiejie, who was squatting on the floor and fiddling with the computer. Uncle Wang, I'm not doing anything. I'm just bored, fiddling with the computer. Zhou Jiejie said with trepidation. Fiddling with the computer when you have nothing to do? Wang Shifan was very puzzled, but he couldn't think of any reason to doubt it. He had to nod. The computer in my study has important documents of the company. You'd better not touch it. Got it, Uncle Wang. I will install it for you. I was just curious. I saw that your computer has a boot password. Zhou Jiejie secretly felt lucky. It seemed that Wang Shifan didn't notice anything. Oh, then don't fiddle with it. Wang Shifan's gaze suddenly stopped on Zhou Jiejie's computer desktop. He looked at the 2 attachment names on the email that had just been sent out. He was suddenly stunned. After a while, he asked with a sullen face, "What is this?" "No, nothing." Zhou Jiejie was shocked. Her tone was stuttering. "Nothing? You touched my computer? Who did you send these things to?" Wang Shifan's eyes immediately turned red. He stared at Zhou Jiejia full of murderous intent. No, nothing. I was just curious to take a look. Zhou Jiejia was scared at the moment. Her heart was so nervous that it almost jumped out. Who did you send it to? Say it. Wang Shifan naturally wouldn't believe that Zhou Jiejia took a look because of curiosity. Turns out that this is the case. You really don't have any good intentions. You dismantled my computer just for this. So what? At this point, it was impossible for Zhou Jiejia to hide it. The facts were in front of her. Even if she made up a lie, Wang Shifan wouldn't believe it. It was better to just admit it. So he gritted his teeth and looked up heroically. He looked straight at Wang Shifan. I came to your house to collect evidence. Now I have sent these things to the criminal investigation captain of the police station, Chen Fei. Your crime has been exposed. Anyway, my mission is completed. Since the matter was discovered by Wang Shifan, then I just admit it. What can he do to me? At most they would kill him to vent their anger. However, in this way Wang Shifan couldn't escape the law. I can eliminate a big obstacle for Yang Ming. I didn't die in vain. After Wang Shifan was caught, no one would harm Yang Ming anymore. I'll kill you. Wang Shifan was so angry that he trembled. His eyes were red. He obviously lost his mind. He reached out and grabbed Zhou Jiejia's neck. I will strangle you. You fucking dare to sue me. I will kill you. Cough cough. Zhou Jiejia was suffocated by Wang Shifan's choke. She was a weak woman. How could she be Wang Shifan's opponent? Moreover, Zhou Jiejia was now holding the mentality of death. She didn't even resist. She gritted her teeth and glared at Wang Shifan. It was really like a generous sacrifice. Death is just death. Perhaps because of my death Yang Ming will feel guilty. As long as he can remember that there was once a girl who was willing to sacrifice her life for him, that is enough. In the dead of night I can occasionally remember that there was a girl named Zhou Jiejia who loved him deeply. Then I will be very happy even in heaven. Thinking of this, Zhou Jiejia closed her eyes happily. There was a smile at the corner of her mouth. Seeing Zhou Jiejia's expression of seeking death, Wang Shifan was even more angry. He increased the strength of his hand and wanted to break Zhou Jiejia's neck. A woman's heart is the most vicious. Wang Shifan was so angry that his breathing was not smooth. This woman is really scheming. She actually compromised in order to screw me over. What made him most upset was that his silly son actually didn't notice that this woman had a disloyal heart. Thinking of this, Wang Shifan's strength in his hand loosened a little. He thought, no, I can't strangle her now. I have to get her in front of my son and then kill her. I will also let Jitao see it and let him learn a lesson. Anyway, I am finished this time. The police will probably come to arrest me soon. But my son Wang Jitao still has a long way to go. I will let him see the true face of Zhou Jiejia. I will let him not easily trust anyone in the future. Wang Shifan released the hand on Zhou Jiejia's neck and then prepared to take Zhou Jiejia to the base. He wanted to kill Zhou Jiejia in front of his son. Zhou Jiejia had been strangled by Wang Shifan. Now her consciousness was very vague, but even if she was awake, she knew that she couldn't escape. She simply lay there quietly, waiting for the last moment of her life to come. Soon Wang Shifan found a rope and tied Zhou Jiejia's hands and feet. Then he carried her and quickly threw her into his car. After doing all this, Wang Shifan took the passbook that he had given to Wang Jitao in advance and the Swiss bank account card with him. Because he knew that soon the police would completely seal up his home. He couldn't go back to this house. Wang Shifan took a last look at his house. This was the last time he would come out from here. Wang Shifan shook his head. People live for a lifetime and there is only one spring. I have been awesome and awe-inspiring. I have enjoyed what I should enjoy. My son has grown up. There is nothing to miss. Starting the car, Wang Shifan drove to the base to complete his last mission. Yang Ming took off his clothes and put them away. Then he stepped directly into the bathroom. Just now, Xia Shui's sneak attack on his lower body made him break out in a cold sweat. At this moment he could take a comfortable hot bath. Xia Shui was actually very pure, but everyone had curiosity. It was the first time Xia Shui saw the real thing between a man and a woman. Naturally, she was interested in studying it. Although she was ashamed when she saw that Yang Ming was not in the room, she let go of the courage to watch. This man doesn't look so good. He is not as handsome as Yang Ming. Xia Shui looked at the male lead in the film and thought to herself. She didn't know why, but she actually compared him with Yang Ming. Probably Yang Ming is also a pervert. Only a pervert can compare with the man on TV. Both of them are the same kind of people. Xia Shui explained. Poor Xia Shui only felt that her whole body was getting hotter and hotter. Moreover, her legs began to rub against each other involuntarily. Although the drug that Huang Yukai put in the wine was only effective for men, nothing was absolute. Any drug would have some side effects. If the amount was small, it would not work on women, but it couldn't withstand the large amount. Coupled with the effect of alcohol, the effect of the drug was magnified several times. Coincidentally, there was also the catalyst of this TV program, which pushed the desire in Xia Shui's body to the peak. No, I can't watch it anymore. Xia Shui only felt that her legs were wet. There was a strange feeling of dryness all over her body, which made her feel unbearable pain. Xia Shui stood up abruptly and rushed to the bathroom. She wanted to use cold water to wake herself up. She couldn't indulge in this kind of thing anymore. Yang Ming, you come out. Xia Shui shouted and opened the bathroom door and rushed in. Yang Ming didn't have any guard against Xia Shui. He thought that she wouldn't take the initiative to come to him, so he didn't even lock the bathroom door. When he saw Xia Shui rushing in so recklessly, he was suddenly shocked. I'm not wearing any clothes. Yang Ming was shocked. He quickly reached out to take the bath towel not far away. Xia Shui originally thought that Yang Ming was just hiding in the bathroom. She didn't expect that he was actually taking a shower naked. She was suddenly stunned. She just wanted to scold Yang Ming, but in her mind she couldn't help but think of the scene she just saw on TV. Compared to Yang Ming's strong and burly figure, the man on TV was simply a gigolo. When Xia Shui's eyes stayed on Yang Ming's strong chest and abdominal muscles, Xia Shui's heart suddenly jumped, and her breathing became more rapid. She only felt that her mouth was dry. This was not the end of it. Xia Shui's eyes continued to move down. Finally, she saw something that she shouldn't have seen. However, Yang Ming's reaction was faster. Xia Shui just caught a glimpse and he wrapped the bath towel around himself. He glared at Xia Shui and scolded, "Don't you know how to knock on the door? Do you know that you are being a hooligan?" Chapter 577. However, Yang Ming's reaction was relatively fast. Xia Shui only caught a glimpse and he wrapped the bath towel around himself. It seems that this assassin's skill is still very useful in case of emergency. Yang Ming glared and scolded Xia Shui angrily, "Don't you know how to knock on the door? Do you know that you are acting like a hooligan?" Yang Ming. Xia Shui didn't hear what Yang Ming said. Her eyes were blurred. She unconsciously called out Yang Ming's name and leaned toward Yang Ming. "Damn, what are you doing?" Yang Ming was shocked. He was a little stunned by Xia Shui's action. "Hug me." Xia Shui was a little incoherent. Although she felt that her behavior was very inappropriate, her body was completely out of control. Originally, she wanted to wake up in the bathroom, but she didn't expect to see Yang Ming standing there naked taking a shower. Xia Shui was stunned and the desire in her body became more vigorous. Now she actually had an impulse to do the things on TV with Yang Ming. "Are you crazy?" Yang Ming was now fully awake, otherwise he really couldn't grasp the temptation in front of him. Yang Ming shook his head. This Xia Shui, she was obviously too passionate from watching TV. She was possessed. "I'm so hot. I can't," Xia Shui said as she began to take off her clothes. Originally this room was hot. She had already taken off her coat when she was eating. At this moment there was only a cashmere shirt inside. It was easily taken off by Xia Shui, directly revealing the small vest inside. Yang Ming looked at it and was moved. "Motherfucker, this Xia Shui, isn't she tempting me to make a mistake?" Looking at Xia Shui's curvy upper body, Yang Ming really wanted to push her down on the spot. However, Yang Ming was still more rational than impulsive. After a long period of arduous training, Yang Ming's willpower was much stronger than before. He would not be easily tempted. "Alright, stop messing around." Yang Ming resisted the impulse in his heart and shouted at Xia Shui, hoping to scare her. "It's so hot." Xia Shui didn't realize it and wasn't moved by Yang Ming's roar. While she continued to tear her clothes, she suddenly grabbed Yang Ming's right hand and pressed it against her chest. Xia Shui's action was completely subconscious. She had just seen the female lead do this on TV. Subconsciously she did the same action. Yang Ming was greatly shocked and his entire body suddenly trembled. However, the fullness and softness in his hands made Yang Ming somewhat reluctant to leave. Although Yang Ming had tried his best to control his emotions, he really couldn't resist the temptation in front of him. Touching should be fine, right? This was what Xia Shui had asked for. It had nothing to do with him. Xia Shui was still not satisfied. She reached out and grabbed the bath towel on Yang Ming's body. Yang Ming was enjoying it very comfortably. Suddenly he felt a chill under his body. The bath towel had been pulled to the ground by Xia Shui. "Ah!" Xia Shui screamed. She reached out and wanted to continue to grab it. Although Yang Ming was also burning with lust because of Xia Shui, there was only one thought in his mind at the moment. Xia Shui must not be pushed. If I push it will be a big problem. Chen Fei's underling is it so easy to push. If I don't stop Xia Shui now then I will really be done for. Thinking of this, Yang Ming didn't care about the feeling in his hand. He grabbed Xia Shui's collar and dragged her into the bathroom. He turned the shower to the cold direction and aimed the spray at Xia Shui. Achoo. Xia Shui was suddenly drenched by the cold water and sneezed. "Yang Ming, what are you doing?" Xia Shui screamed. "Cold, it's so cold." Yang Ming didn't care much. He continued to press Xia Shui's head and let her continue to be hit by the cold shower. "Let me go. Yang Ming, I want to kill you. Do you want to freeze me to death?" Xia Shui seemed to have completely sobered up. She had regained her temper in the past. Yang Ming breathed a sigh of relief and let Xia Shui go. It was a close call. "Yeah." Xia Shui looked up and saw the naked Yang Ming. She suddenly exclaimed, What are you doing?" "What do you mean what am I doing?" Yang Ming was somewhat inexplicable by Xia Shui. "What are you doing naked? What are you doing?" Xia Shui glared at Yang Ming with a red face. "What am I doing naked? Isn't it because of you?" Yang Ming was angry. "Silly girl, did you lose your memory? What am I going to do to you? Is there a mistake? It's you who is going to do to me." Xia Shui was scolded by Yang Ming and immediately woke up. She wasn't unconscious just now, so what she did before suddenly appeared in front of her eyes. She immediately felt ashamed. She lowered her head and didn't dare to look at Yang Ming again. "Just now, I actually flirted with Yang Ming. It's so embarrassing." Thinking of this, Xia Shui couldn't wait to find a hole to hide in. Although Yang Ming was annoyed by Xia Shui after all, he was also lustful just now. He took advantage of Xia Shui for a while, so it wasn't good to say anything more. Moreover, he wasn't wearing anything now. It wasn't the right thing to stay in the bathroom with Xia Shui, so he sighed. "Forget it. I'll let the matter of you being a hooligan to me go. I spanked your butt before and now you also. In short, it cancels each other out." "Oh?" Xia Shui nodded mechanically. Although she felt unconvinced in her heart, she couldn't say any reason to refute. However, she always felt that Yang Ming took advantage of her. He's a big man. What is there to lose? It's like I did something to him. Yang Ming took advantage of the time when Xia Shui still hadn't figured it out and quickly left the bathroom. He didn't want to have too much to do with Xia Shui now. Xia Shui became Yang Ming's character this time. In the bathroom, she was so ashamed that she didn't dare to come out and face Yang Ming. Yang Ming glanced at the top-notch blockbuster that was still playing in the hall and secretly scolded Shameless. The association noticed that he was different after drinking before, and also faintly noticed something. Could it be that this guy Wang Jitao wants to harm me again? XX policewoman humph, Wang Jitao is more insidious this time than last time. Fortunately, I have enough self-control or else I would really be harmed by him. Could it be that Wang Jitao is already here? Yang Ming raised his eyes and looked in the direction of the monitoring room. Sure enough, he saw Wang Jitao sitting next to Huang Yukai with a sinister face. He was carefully listening to the movement in his room. Yang Ming didn't pretend now. Isn't it time to solve the final problem? Since the main character has arrived, then I don't need to stay here anymore. It's time. Yang Ming directly kicked the LCD TV on the wall. Then he picked up a can of beer on the ground and smashed it on the monitor. Bang! With a loud sound, the monitoring device was declared to be useless. At the same time in the monitoring room, Wang Jitao suddenly covered his ears and screamed. He was almost turned deaf by Yang Ming. What's going on? Wang Jitao rubbed his buzzing eardrums and cursed in exasperation. What the hell? It seems that Yang Ming destroyed the monitor. Huang Yukai explained. Motherfucker, could it be that these two people have already done it? Did you accidentally break the listening device? Wang Jitao tried his best to think of the evil side of the matter. It is also possible, it is also possible. Huang Yukai echoed. Find someone to check it out. Wang Jitao instructed. Yes. Huang Yukai just wanted to call someone, but the door of the monitoring room was pushed open. Wang Shifan came in with Zhou Jiejia. President Wang. Jiejia, Huang Yukai and Wang Jitao spoke at the same time. Wang Shifan listened to Wang Jitao's words and couldn't help but sigh. This son of mine, there's nothing else. It's just that he's too infatuated. This woman has betrayed him, but he still cares about her so much. It seems that it is necessary to bring Zhou Jiejia here today to let my son see her true colors. Dad, why did you tie Zhou Jiejia up? Wang Jitao was shocked. Hurry up and release her. What are you doing? Bao, don't move. Stand there for me. Wang Shifan immediately shouted to stop his son. Wang Jitao was stunned. He looked at his serious father in front of him and was somewhat overwhelmed. Did Yukai tell you about Dad's matter? Wang Shifan glanced at his son and asked faintly. Along the way he had thought about it clearly, so he was able to let it go. He didn't care about anything. Yes. But Uncle Huang said that it might not be a problem, right? Wang Jitao didn't understand why his father suddenly asked this. His mind was now on Zhou Jiejia. Chapter 578. Originally, it wasn't necessarily a problem, but now it is definitely a problem. Wang Shifan sneered. Jitao, look at this good girlfriend of yours. If it weren't for her, your dad wouldn't be like this now, huh? Dad, what the hell is going on? What does it have to do with Jiejia? Wang Jitao asked, baffled. President Wang, what the hell is going on? Huang Yukai also raised his head and asked in confusion. Zhou Jiejia. It is this little bitch who sent all our smuggling accounts over the years to the police station. Wang Shifan grabbed Zhou Jiejia's collar and screamed, I calculated everything, but I didn't expect that in the end it would be because of this. Dad, you said that Zhou Jiejia reported you? This is impossible. Wang Jitao asked with some disbelief. Jiejia isn't such a person. But what else can it be? I saw it with my own eyes. Can it be fake? Do you have to wait for your dad to be arrested by the police before you believe it? Wang Shifan looked at his son and was angry. Every day he would have disputes with others because of a few women. Wang Jitao still wanted to say something, but when he saw his father's angry look, he shut his mouth. President Wang, do you mean that the matter has been exposed? Huang Yukai asked in surprise. Yes, it is estimated that the police have surrounded my house now. Fortunately, I found it in time. Otherwise, I wouldn't even have the chance to tell you and Jitao. Wang Shifan shook his head. President Wang, what are you going to do now? Huang Yukai sighed. This day had finally come. What should I do? Yukai, Jitao will be handed over to you in the future. As Wang Shifan said this, he took out 2 documents from his briefcase and said, I have written a statement. Since yesterday, I have resigned from the position of the chairman of the board of directors of Wang's Century Xiongfeng Group. I have transferred all the shares in my hands to Wang Jitao. I officially appoint you as the president of Wang's Century Xiongfeng Group. Also, Guo Jianchao's ability is not bad. He can be of great use. I have already revealed to him that I intend to retire. I believe that you and him will definitely be able to assist Jitao well. President Wang. Huang Yukai was very sad after listening. How about I admit all these crimes? Wang Shifan was very touched as he patted Huang Youcai's shoulder and said, Yukai, I understand your mind. I didn't trust you in vain. However, you can't take the blame for these things. Even if you go, the police aren't fools. In the end, I will still be involved. Why don't I just accept all of them and throw you out? President Wang. Huang Yukai wanted to say something but was interrupted by Wang Shifan. Wang Shifan waved his hand and said, You are talented. I will leave Jitao to you in the future. Don't worry, President Wang. I will take good care of Jitao. I will make him a person who surpasses your achievements. Huang Yukai nodded solemnly. Wang's group will definitely go to glory in Jitao's hands. Okay, then I'm relieved. Wang Shifan nodded and turned his head. He looked at Wang Jitao, who was already dumbfounded. He said with pity and love, Jitao, Dad is leaving. In the future you will follow Yukai. Grow up well and manage our family's group well. Dad, what are you talking about? Wang Jitao said in a hurry, if something happens to you, what will happen to my mother and I? Be good, be obedient. Wang Shifan sighed. Even if Dad doesn't have an accident this time, there will be a day when I will be old. You have to learn to grow up. Besides, there is Uncle Huang looking after you. I am relieved. Dad. Wang Jitao was still a teenager. His eyes suddenly turned red. Well, Jitao, be a man. Don't cry. As long as you live well and carry forward the family business, I will be satisfied. Wang Shifan waved his hand and said, Dad, you can rest assured. I will definitely avenge you. Wang Jitao said as he clenched his teeth. But a slap on Wang Jitao's face. Wang Shifan glared at him and said, Revenge? What revenge? The one who sentenced your dad was the court. Are you looking for the court for revenge? You are confused. That. Wang Jitao thought that his father, who was determined to avenge, would be happy, but he didn't expect it to be like this. Your dad did something wrong. Even if he was sentenced to death, he had no regrets. He deserved it. Wang Shifan said angrily, the money I saved for you is enough for you to spend. Even if you have no achievements in your life, you don't have to worry about food and clothing. Don't do illegal things anymore. Don't do unnecessary fights with others. Don't ruin things because of a woman. Dad, Wang Jitao had been nodding, but when he heard the last sentence for a woman, he was somewhat dissatisfied. Dad, did you really see Zhou Jiejie do that thing? Yukai, find someone to bring a bucket of cold water. Wang Shifan didn't answer, but he directly instructed Huang Yukai. Yes. Huang Yukai nodded and picked up the intercom system on the table. He pressed the call button and said, Bring me a basin of cold water. After a while, a black-shirt man came in with a basin of cold water. When he saw Wang Shifan, he immediately said respectfully, Master. Young Master Brother Huang. And wake her up for me. Wang Shifan nodded. He was very satisfied with the black-shirt man's greeting. He pointed to Zhou Jiejie on the ground and then walked to the side. Yes. The black-shirt man replied. Then he picked up the basin and poured it on Zhou Jiejie's head. With a splash, the basin of water drenched Zhou Jiejie like a drowned rat. Zhou Jiejie screamed, "Ah," and woke up. She sneezed a few times before she looked up. Motherfucker, bitch. Say it. Who sent you? Wang Shifan saw that Zhou Jiejie woke up and asked immediately. If you want to kill me, just do it. Why do you ask so much? Zhou Jiejie snorted and said faintly. Bitch, you are quite stubborn. As Wang Shifan said this, he poured a cup of tea on the table on Zhou Jiejie's face. Dad, what are you doing? Wang Jitao exclaimed. Son, at this time do you still have tender feelings for the fairer sex? Didn't you hear what she said? She admitted it herself. Wang Shifan looked at Wang Jitao helplessly and was angry with him. Jiejie, are you lying to me? Say it. Wang Jitao looked at Zhou Jiejie and asked anxiously, You said that you were playing with us. Why are you so stupid? Aren't you asking for trouble? Wang Jitao, what your dad said is true. I am the one who reported him. I just want your Wang family to fall. Zhou Jiejie looked cold and sneered. Who asked him to use Yang Ming to force me? I like Yang Ming. Even if I have to die for him, I'm willing. I have been lying to you all along. I don't like you at all. What? Wang Jitao listened to Zhou Jiejie's words with his own ears. He stood on the spot and looked at Zhou Jiejie stupidly. You, what about me? Your Wang family is finished. This is the result of your evil deeds. Zhou Jiejie said without fear, Kill me. Wang Jitao looked at Zhou Jiejie absent-mindedly. He couldn't accept the facts in front of him. Ah. Wang Shifan suddenly laughed. What are you laughing at? Zhou Jiejie was somewhat inexplicable. Yang Ming. You're doing this for Yang Ming, right? Wang Shifan laughed until he trembled a little. So what? Zhou Jiejie suddenly felt that something was wrong, but she couldn't say what was wrong. Bring Yang Ming in. Wang Shifan slammed the table and ordered the black-shirt man who just came in. Yes, master. The black-shirt man said. What? Why is Yang Ming here? Zhou Jiejie was shocked. Sure enough, the bad feeling came true. She thought that Yang Ming couldn't appear here, so she said that. Because Wang Shifan was going to be finished soon, he couldn't even take care of himself. How could he go back and find trouble with Yang Ming? However, what she never thought was that Yang Ming was actually caught before her. How is it? You didn't expect it, right? Not bad. Yang Ming is here with me. Wang Shifan giggled. His smile was so bright and happy as if it was a great thing. Zhou Jiejia suddenly felt that she had done something wrong. She was very annoyed. Why am I so stupid? Why did I tell the truth to Wang Shifan? I messed up again. It seems that I am born to be Yang Ming's jinx. Aren't you doing this for Yang Ming? I will kill him first, hee. Wang Shifan was almost in a state of madness. His voice changed, just right. Both of you can die together. Chapter 579. Wang Jitao also recovered from his daze at this time. His eyes were full of anger. This feeling of being deceived and played like a monkey was intolerable to any man. Although Wang Jitao wasn't a real man now, his heart was even more twisted and unbearable. Die. Let her die. Let Yang Ming die too. Wang Jitao gasped for breath. His eyes were wide open and red like a rabbit. Wang Shifan was thinking about how to make Yang Ming die more miserably. In his opinion, Yang Ming was already in his bag. In the base, could he still run away? It was best to let him die with Zhou Jiejia, this adulterous couple. If Zhou Jiejia wasn't the woman his son admired, then he would have found an underling to rape her, or he would have done it himself. However, Zhou Jiejia was the woman his son liked. Doing so would definitely make Wang Jitao unable to stand it. In fact, if Wang Jitao had no physical problems, then the best person to do this was him. But now it seemed that Zhou Jiejia, this bitch, had it easy. She didn't get humiliated before she died. Zhou Jiejia. Yang Ming was stunned. He looked at Zhou Jiejia, who was tied to the ground in the monitoring room. Why is she here? However, when Yang Ming saw the follow-up of the situation, Yang Ming couldn't help but be moved. Zhou Jiejia actually did it for him. Zhou Jiejia said that she liked him before, she might have made it up or said it for fun. But at this moment, it was impossible for her to lie. Everything she did was for her own sake? Yang Ming sighed. It seemed that all the previous speculations were true. Zhou Jiejia actually liked him. However, at this moment Yang Ming didn't have the slightest joy. On the contrary, his mood was extremely heavy. Zhou Jiejia, what did he do to make this girl so loyal to him? Sigh, it's another emotional debt. Yang Ming scratched his head. Anyway, let's get out of this predicament first. Now it seemed that Zhou Jiejia had found Wang Shifan's evidence and passed it to Chen Fei, so Wang Shifan's downfall was just a matter of time. The door of the room was opened and 3 men in black came in. Yang Ming, come out with me. They were all members of Team B of the Wang family special forces, and they were the best in the team. Wang Shifan had heard from Wang Jitao that Yang Ming's skills were good, so he sent these people over. Even if they didn't come to Yang Ming would go to Wang Shifan. He couldn't watch Zhou Jiejia suffer for him. This infatuated girl. Although she gave him a headache, Yang Ming couldn't leave her alone. Logically speaking, even if they were ordinary friends, Yang Ming didn't have the reason to leave them in the lurch, let alone this kind of unclear relationship. Yang Ming looked at the 3 black-shirt men who were waiting for him. He suddenly felt a little funny. These 3 people, if he wanted to make a move, they would be lying on the ground now. Yang Ming didn't want to make a move on such small fries. Let's go. Yang Ming shrugged, put on his coat and said, wait for me. Where are you going? Xia Shui saw that someone came to take Yang Ming out, so she followed. Miss Xia, there's nothing for you to do here. Please wait here for a while. A black-shirt man immediately reached out and stopped Xia Shui. Why don't you let me go? Aren't you looking for me? Xia Shui reached out and slapped the black-shirt man's arm to the side. The black-shirt man's arm didn't move. It was like an iron pipe, but Xia Shui's palm was a little numb. Miss Xia, the boss only invited Mr. Yang, not you. Don't make it difficult for us. Otherwise we won't be polite. The black-shirt man said coldly. Hiding the head and hiding the tail. Xia Shui snorted, but she didn't force it. As the saying goes, once an expert makes a move, one would know whether or not he has it. This black-shirt man inadvertently revealed such a move that Xia Shui was secretly shocked. Although Yang Ming was much stronger than this black-shirt man, when Yang Ming and Xia Shui were competing, he didn't use his full strength at all. He didn't even use 1/10 of it. He had been playing with Xia Shui. Therefore Xia Shui didn't feel how powerful Yang Ming was. When she lost, she also felt that she lost unjustly. Yang Ming used despicable means to win. Mr. Yang, please. The black-shirt man saw that Xia Shui didn't make trouble, so he turned his head and said to Yang Ming, Xia Shui, you wait for me here. I will go and see what tricks they are going to play. Yang Ming secretly gave Xia Shui a look. In fact, Yang Ming didn't want Xia Shui to go over to save Zhou Jiejie. Yang Ming could still cope with it. If Xia Shui were to add more trouble, then he wouldn't have the time to deal with it. Xia Shui's skill was obviously much weaker than these black-shirt men here. Yang Ming didn't want Xia Shui to become the object of threat again. Then, you be careful. Although Xia Shui was angry with Yang Ming for what he did to her, at this moment she should focus on the overall situation. She couldn't be impulsive. Since Yang Ming asked her to stay here, he must have his intentions. Therefore she just told Yang Ming to be careful and didn't speak anymore. Yang Ming followed the black-shirt man out and the iron door was locked again. However, before the iron door was locked, Yang Ming took out a small pin from his pocket and stuffed it into the keyhole of the iron door. In this way, even if there was a key, he couldn't open this iron door next time. The reason why Yang Ming did this was to protect Xia Shui. Who knew if Wang Shifan would be desperate and use Xia Shui to threaten him again? So he simply broke the door lock so that no one could open it. At that time he would use a tool to pry it open. Of course, Yang Ming's action was very fast. It was natural, as if he came out of the door naturally.